The book that knew too much. Have you ever read a story, maybe a really old book, and suddenly thought, wait, this sounds exactly like something that happened way later? It's a strange feeling, like the pages themselves hold a secret. This isn't about magic it's about something called literary prophecy, where a writer, sometimes centuries ago, creates a fictional world or event that ends up being eerily similar to real life. Think about how people long ago tried to understand the future. They looked at stars, listened to dreams, or told epic myths about heroes facing destiny. Sometimes, these stories weren't just tales, they were like whispers from a possible future, echoing through time. It makes you wonder if certain ideas just linger, waiting for the right moment to show up in a story, and then in reality. Here's an example that really makes you think. Before the famous Titanic ship sank, a book was written called Futility, or The Wreck of the Titan. Published 14 years before the real Titanic disaster, it described a massive, unsinkable ocean liner named the Titan. It hit an iceberg in the North Atlantic, and many people died because there weren't enough lifeboats. The similarities are almost too perfect. The ship's size, its unsinkable claim, hitting an iceberg, even the time of year. It's like the book wrote the blueprint for what was to come. So, when you find something like this, it makes you pause. Was it just chance, or is there some deeper, quiet current flowing through human imagination and reality? It's not about predicting the future. It's more about how some stories seem to tap into patterns, fears, or possibilities that haven't quite become real yet. It leaves you with a quiet sense of wonder, a feeling that the world holds more mysteries than we can ever fully understand. And maybe, just maybe, some of those mysteries are hidden right there, on the pages of an old book. Twain's comet call. Have you ever wondered if some things are just written, like there's a pattern in the universe, and we sometimes glimpse it? It's a pretty big thought, I know. But here's the thing about Mark Twain, one of America's most famous writers, that makes you wonder. He was born in 1835. That year, a famous comet called Halley's Comet was streaking across our sky. Imagine seeing something so bright and rare, a visitor from deep space. Halley's Comet is special because it comes back around every 75 or 76 years. It's like a cosmic clock, ticking away, showing up right on schedule. Twain knew about this. He even said, many years later, that he was born with the comet, and he expected to go out with it. He joked about it, but maybe, deep down, he felt a connection. And get this, in 1910, exactly 75 years later, Halley's Comet appeared in the sky again. On that very day, April 21st, 1910, Mark Twain passed away. Think about that. It's like a story written in the stars, isn't it? A grand, cosmic appointment. You know how sometimes you hear a certain song on the radio, and it pops up exactly when you're thinking about a specific person or moment, or how you always seem to wear a certain jacket on the day something important happens. It's not magic, but it makes you pause and think, whoa, that's weird. Twain's life and death, marked by the comet's 2 visits, make us think about bigger ideas. Do our lives follow hidden paths? Are there patterns we can't see? Connections that tie us to the rhythms of the universe? It doesn't mean everything is planned out for us, but it does make you appreciate how beautiful and mysterious life can be, full of these strange, perfect timings that leave us just a little bit awestruck. We are part of something much, much larger and older than ourselves. Lincoln and Kennedy's echo. Have you ever wondered if time can sometimes echo itself? Like a melody played again, but a century later, with the same notes hitting in unexpected ways. This idea makes us think about the strange connections between Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy, 2 American presidents separated by 100 years, yet linked by an astonishing chain of similar events. Here's what I found. Lincoln was elected in 1860, Kennedy in 1960, exactly 100 years apart. Both were deeply focused on civil rights for their time. Both faced strong opposition, and both tragically lost their lives to an assassin's bullet, shot in the head on a Friday. And here's the thing, both were succeeded by vice presidents named Johnson. Andrew Johnson for Lincoln, Lyndon B. Johnson for Kennedy. These similarities make you pause, don't they? Is it just chance, a roll of the cosmic dice? Or is there something more happening, a pattern woven into the fabric of history that we sometimes catch a glimpse of? Our minds are built to find connections, to see shapes in the clouds, to make stories out of scattered pieces. Sometimes, we see what we expect to see, or what makes a good story. Think about looking up at the night sky. You might just see a bunch of stars. But then you connect the dots, and suddenly, there's a Big Dipper, or a lion. The stars themselves didn't change, but your mind made a pattern, gave it a name, found a meaning. These echoes between Lincoln and Kennedy are a bit like that. They're like history's own constellations. They don't necessarily prove some hidden fate or a grand plan, but they do make us wonder about the quiet mysteries of time. They remind us that history isn't just a list of facts and dates. It's a living story, full of curious threads that sometimes seem to weave together in ways we can barely understand. And that's why it matters. It invites us to think, to feel the strangeness and beauty of coincidence, and to reflect on the endless, unfolding wonder of the past. The twin strangers. Have you ever seen someone who looks exactly like someone you know, but they're not? It's a strange feeling, like a trick of the eye, seeing a face so familiar, almost a mirror image of a friend, yet this person is a stranger. This is the idea of twin strangers, sometimes called a doppelganger. That old German word means double goer, hinting at someone who looks just like you, but is no relation. For centuries, people have wondered about this. Some old cultures believed seeing your double was a sign, maybe good, maybe unsettling. They saw it as a kind of spiritual twin, a shadow self, or even a message from another place. But here's the thing, in our world, with billions of people, it's almost certain that someone, somewhere, will have a face very similar to yours. Think about shuffling a huge deck of cards. Even with all the different cards, the same combination of features can appear again. Imagine you're scrolling through social media and a picture pops up. You instantly recognize the person, their smile, their eyes, a small dimple. You're about to tag your friend, but then you read the name, and it's a stranger. It makes you pause. It makes you wonder about how unique each of us truly is. Are we one of a kind, or are there echoes of us walking around, living entirely different lives? This isn't about spooky spirits. It's about the vastness of human appearance and the quiet surprise of finding familiarity in a stranger's face. It leaves you with a soft question. If a face can be mirrored, what else about us might be? It's a gentle reminder that even in our uniqueness, we are all part of a larger, beautiful, human tapestry, woven with threads that sometimes, surprisingly, repeat. Lost Wallet's Wild Ride. Have you ever lost something important to you? Maybe a favorite toy from childhood, or a special book. You feel that quick sadness, that empty feeling when it's gone, perhaps forever. But here's the thing, what if that lost item, against all odds, found its way back to you? Not just by chance, but in a way that felt truly impossible. This is the heart of a Lost Wallet's Wild Ride. It's more than just finding something again. It's about an object on a random journey, only to create a bizarre coincidence. For ages, people have wondered, is it just luck? Is there a hidden pattern, a secret thread that pulls things together, even when they seem disconnected? Ancient thinkers considered fate or destiny, suggesting some things are meant to be, but maybe it's simpler. Maybe it's just the amazing way chaos can sometimes surprise us with order. Think about a single dandelion seed floating on the wind. It travels far from its plant, on its own, tossed by every breeze. It seems random where it will land. But imagine if, by an incredible twist, that very seed, years later, grew into a new dandelion right back in your own garden, after drifting across states. It sounds crazy, right? But these strange full-circle moments happen. It's like the universe performs a quiet, unexpected dance, and that's why it matters. These stories of things getting lost, then making unbelievable journeys back, or to someone connected, gently remind us the world is a giant, intertwined web. Everything, even a lost wallet or a tiny seed, is part of a bigger, often mysterious, story. It makes you wonder about all the unseen paths and connections around us. It's a quiet wonder. A car that escaped death twice. Have you ever thought about how some things just seem to survive, like they have a guardian angel, even if it's just a regular object? Sometimes, the world shows us moments so unlikely, they make us pause and wonder if there's more to luck than we think. This is a story about a car that seemed to defy the odds, not once, but twice. It's a quiet example of how strange life can be. Back in 1960, a man bought a car, just a normal car, but soon after, it was involved in a huge accident. It was so badly damaged that it was basically crushed. Anyone looking at it would say it was beyond repair, totally gone. The owner was killed in the crash. The car was sent to a junkyard, left for scrap metal. But then, for reasons unknown, it was pulled from the pile and rebuilt. It was like it had been given a second chance, reborn from the wreckage. But the story doesn't end there. A few years later, a new owner was driving this very same car, and almost unbelievably, it was in another terrible accident. This time, the second owner also died, and again, the car was left as a mangled heap, seemingly at the end of its road. Yet, somehow, it was fixed up again. This one car, a simple machine, had survived 2 separate, deadly crashes. It felt like it simply refused to be erased. Think about it like this. Imagine you almost trip and fall on your way to school, but you catch yourself. Then, later that same day, you almost spill your entire lunch tray, but you manage to steady it at the last second. It feels like a weird kind of double save, right? Just a fluke. Or does it make you feel a little bit like someone, or something, was watching out for you? People have wondered about fate and chance for thousands of years. Is there a plan for everything, or is it all just random? This car, a piece of metal and glass, makes you think about how incredibly rare some events are. It reminds us that even in the ordinary, there can be threads of astonishing coincidence, hinting at a world far more mysterious than we often see. It makes you feel how precious and unpredictable every moment can be. The man who missed every disaster. Have you ever wondered about luck? Not just good luck, but that strange kind of anti-bad luck. Imagine a person who, through pure chance, just keeps missing terrible events. They're never in the wrong place. It's like an invisible shield guides them away from disaster. Not because they're smart, but because of tiny shifts. This isn't about someone causing bad things. It's about someone who, time after time, stands on the edge of chaos, never falling in. Think of it. A ship sinks, but they changed their ticket last minute. A building collapses, but they decided to grab coffee first. It's a series of unbelievably narrow escapes, again and again. People have long talked about fate or destiny. This idea of the man who misses every disaster makes you ponder that. Is it just incredible, random chance? Or is there something more to how some lives unfold? Here's the thing. Think about your own day. Maybe you just barely missed the bus. Then you hear it got stuck in traffic. Secretly, you're glad. Or you choose a different path home, avoiding a sudden downpour that soaked your friends. Those tiny choices, those little moments of being in a slightly different place, can change everything. They seem small, but sometimes they lead you away from big problems. The man who missed every disaster reminds us how delicate the line between order and chaos can be. It's not magic. It's about recognizing this strange dance of probabilities. Around us, it makes you pause, considering close calls you never knew you had. It's a quiet reflection on our everyday mystery. Same name, same life. Have you ever stopped to think about your name? It's just a word, right? A sound your parents chose. But what if that simple word held a secret? What if your name, or someone else's, could somehow echo through time, linking lives in the strangest ways? Here's the thing about same name, same life. It's not about twins, or even people from the same family. It's about 2 completely different individuals, sometimes born centuries apart, living on opposite sides of the world, who happen to share the exact same name. And then, the truly strange part happens. Their lives start to mirror each other. They might share the same job, or face nearly identical big life events. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is it just pure chance, a roll of the dice in the universe? Or is there something deeper at play? Ancient thinkers sometimes believed that names carried a kind of energy, a hidden destiny. They thought a name wasn't just a label, but a part of who you were meant to be. Like calling a child Victor hoping they'd win, or Rose believing they'd be beautiful. This idea that a name could hint at a path has been around for thousands of years. Think about it this way. Imagine you have 2 different kinds of seeds, one for a small flower, the other for a tall tree. You expect them to grow differently, right? But what if, in 2 separate gardens, 2 different seeds, planted years apart, somehow grew into very similar looking plants? Not because they were the same seed, but just because they shared something unseen. It's like the universe is playing a trick, showing us strange patterns where we don't expect them. So when we see these strange echoes across different lives, joined only by a shared name, it feels like a soft whisper from the universe. It doesn't tell us all the answers, but it does make us pause and feel the quiet wonder of how interconnected everything might be. Maybe our names are more than just sounds. Maybe they are tiny threads in a vast, unseen tapestry of existence. And that's pretty wild to think about. The boy and the dragon statue. Have you ever wondered about the threads that connect our lives? It's a strange thought, but sometimes things that seem totally separate weave together in ways that make you pause and think, like a quiet whisper, urging you to notice something bigger. We're talking about coincidences here, moments when two or more unrelated things happen at the same time, feeling almost too perfect to be accidental. It's like the universe is just nudging you. For centuries, people have tried to understand these strange links. It's not magic, but how our minds make sense of a world that feels chaotic. Thinkers, ancient and modern, have explored this. They wonder if our brains are just good at finding patterns, even when there isn't one there. Or maybe, sometimes, there's a deeper rhythm to things we don't usually see. It's like looking at scattered leaves and suddenly noticing they form a hidden picture. Think about this. You're in class, bored, doodling a bird. Later, you walk home, and a bird of that exact kind lands on the fence beside you. Or you're struggling with math, and flipping through a magazine, you see an article that explains your problem. It's not that the bird knew you were drawing it, or the magazine knew your math problem. It's that these two different, unconnected moments suddenly just fit. They feel meaningful, even if there's no logical reason. So, when we see a coincidence, like a boy finding a toy dragon statue after reading about dragons, it's not necessarily fate. It's more about how our minds seek connections, how we look for stories in the random every day. It reminds us that even in the ordinary, there can be moments of quiet wonder. A reminder that the world holds more mysteries than we sometimes imagine. It makes you think about how much we don't understand, and that's a pretty cool thought. The phone call from the past. Have you ever felt like a moment from long ago suddenly reached out and touched you right now? It's a strange feeling, like a whisper across time. We call this idea the phone call from the past, but it's not a real phone call with ringing and voices. Instead, it's a way of thinking about those bizarre coincidences where something from history, something truly old, feels deeply connected to your present. Imagine time isn't just a straight line, moving only forward. What if it's more like a vast ocean, with ripples and currents, where echoes from yesterday can still touch today's shore? For centuries, people have wondered about this. Ancient thinkers sometimes believed that places held onto memories, or that spirits from the past could linger. It's a quiet wonder, this idea that the past isn't entirely gone, but might be humming faintly just beneath the surface of the present. Here's an example that might help. When you look up at the night sky and see a star, you're not seeing it as it is right now. You're seeing it as it was thousands, even millions, of years ago. That light has traveled across an incredible distance to reach your eyes. So, in a way, that star is sending you a phone call from its own deep past. It's a message from long, long ago, finally arriving. And that's the thing about these phone calls from the past. They remind us that we are part of a continuous story, stretching back further than we can imagine. It makes you feel small, but also incredibly connected to everything that has ever been. It's a gentle reminder that even the oldest things can still touch our lives today, leaving us with a feeling of quiet awe. Two strangers, one tattoo. Have you ever wondered how people connect in mysterious ways? Imagine this. You meet someone new, a person you've never seen before. You start talking, sharing pieces of your life, and then something catches your eye. Maybe on their arm or their wrist, you spot a tattoo. But it's not just any tattoo. It's the exact same unique design you have, that special symbol you thought was only yours. How can two strangers, living totally different lives, end up with the same rare mark on their skin? This isn't about popular designs, like a simple heart that lots of people get. We're talking about really specific, unusual symbols, or detailed patterns, or even the exact same words chosen by two separate people. They picked these designs without knowing anything about each other. It's like an idea was floating invisibly through the air, then landed in two different minds, inspiring the very same permanent art. For a long time, people have thought about how strange coincidences like this can happen. Some ancient thinkers might have seen it as a sign of kindred spirits or destiny quietly working behind the scenes. They might have believed that certain thoughts or symbols are just out there for us all to discover. Kind of like how different plants in faraway places still manage to grow towards the same sun. Think about a moment in your own life. Have you ever been quietly humming a specific old song, and then a friend nearby suddenly starts humming the exact same tune, even though you hadn't mentioned it? It's a small, sweet moment of shared thought, a tiny echo in the world. Now, picture that feeling, but much bigger, made real and visible, etched forever onto two separate bodies. This kind of coincidence hints at a deeper connection, maybe suggesting that our individual minds are part of something much larger, like a shared well of human experiences we all secretly draw from. These moments make you pause and truly think. They make you wonder about the hidden paths that guide our choices, the quiet whispers that shape our lives in ways we don't always see. Perhaps it means we're all more connected than we realize, like many different streams flowing towards the same big ocean. It's a gentle reminder that even though we are each unique, we might share unseen patterns, weaving us all into the quiet, beautiful mystery of being alive. Finding my own doppelganger. Have you ever looked at a stranger and thought, wow, they look exactly like someone I know? It's a strange feeling, right? But what if that stranger looked exactly like you? This brings us to the idea of a doppelganger. A doppelganger is basically your non-related twin, not a clone, but someone who shares an uncanny resemblance, even if you've never met. For centuries, across different cultures, stories of doppelgangers have popped up. In ancient tales, seeing your own double was often a mysterious sign, sometimes a warning. It made people wonder about identity, about what makes each of us truly unique. Some even believed it was a spiritual thing, a glimpse of another version of themselves. But here's what I found. Think of it like this. Imagine you have a big box of LEGOs, but there are only so many shapes and colors. If you keep building, eventually, two very different people might accidentally create something that looks incredibly similar, just by arranging the same basic pieces. Our faces, our features, are like those Lego pieces. There are only so many ways our bodies can arrange eyes, noses, and mouths. With billions of people on Earth, the chances of two unrelated people ending up with very similar faces become surprisingly high. It's not magic, it's just the probability of life. So, when we think about finding our own doppelganger, it's not about fate. It's a beautiful coincidence that reminds us how connected we are. It makes you pause. What does it mean that another person could walk the earth with your face? Perhaps it's a gentle whisper that even in our uniqueness, we share a deeper bond with all of humanity. It's a quiet wonder, really. The dream that came true. Have you ever had a dream that felt incredibly real? What if that dream, later on, somehow came true in your waking life? It's one of those bizarre coincidences that makes you pause and wonder about the strange ways our minds work. This isn't about magic or it's about those strange moments when something you dreamed actually happens. It's like a feeling of déjà vu, but the feeling starts in your sleep. For a very long time, people have wondered about this. Ancient people, like the Greeks, often thought dreams could carry special messages or even show small parts of the future. They saw dreams as hints from a deeper part of life. Here's what happened to a student named Alex. Alex hadn't thought about their old art teacher, Ms. Chen, in years then. One night, Alex dreamed vividly about Ms. Chen, standing in a specific art supply store. The dream felt so real. The very next day, Alex went to that exact art supply store for a school project. And guess who was there? By the paintbrushes, just like in the dream, Ms. Chen. It was a small moment, but the feeling it left was big. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is our brain just so good at finding patterns that it sometimes links to separate things and makes them feel special? Or is there something more to how our minds work, something we don't fully understand? These dream coincidences don't give us easy answers. Instead, they gently remind us of the huge unknown space inside our own minds. They hint at quiet, mysterious connections that might exist in the world around us. It's a soft nudge to stay curious, to think about the hidden ways life works. An umbrella in the desert. Imagine this with me for a moment. You're walking through a vast, empty desert. The sun beats down, sand stretches endlessly in every direction, and then you see it, just sitting there, abandoned, in the middle of nowhere, a bright red umbrella. What would you think? Why is it there? It makes no sense. It's completely out of place, unneeded, yet undeniably present. That feeling, that moment, of how on earth did that happen? That's a bit like what a bizarre coincidence feels like. It's an umbrella in the desert of our ordinary lives. A moment or an event so unlikely, so perfectly misaligned with everything around it, that it makes you pause and question the very fabric of how things work. It's not just a small chance. It feels like the universe is playing a strange trick. For centuries, people have looked at moments like this and wondered if there's a hidden pattern, something more than just pure randomness. Even ancient thinkers, and common folk too, have always stopped when these strange things happen. They asked, is this simply random, or is there something else at play? A quiet whisper in the chaos. It's a human thing to search for meaning, even when faced with the utterly absurd. Here's an example. Think about this. You're at the grocery store on a Saturday, maybe miles from your school or neighborhood, and there, in the cereal aisle, you bump into a friend you haven't seen since elementary school, someone you never expected to see in that place, at that exact time. You both just stare. That's an umbrella in the desert moment. It's not just by chance. It feels like a curious alignment. These moments aren't always big or dramatic. Sometimes they're quiet whispers that make us stop and think, long after they happen. They remind us that the world is a little more mysterious than we often assume. It's like the universe winks at us, showing us that even the most unlikely things can, and often do, happen. And in that strangeness, there's a quiet beauty, making us feel more connected to the vast, unpredictable dance of life itself. The photo that predicted disaster. Have you ever looked at an old photograph and felt a shiver, like it held a secret, a story yet untold? Sometimes a picture taken long ago seems to echo events that happened much later, almost like it whispered, a quiet warning. It's not magic, but a strange way the threads of coincidence can weave through time, making us wonder. People have always wondered about fate, or if moments are simply meant to be. These photos, taken often without any special intent, make us truly stop. They make us consider how deeply connected things might be, even if we can't fully explain it. It's like the universe has a subtle sense of humor, or maybe a quiet way of showing us patterns we usually miss. Patterns that hint at something more. Imagine sketching a picture, maybe a certain tree, or a street scene you haven't seen in ages. Then, the very next day, you stumble upon that exact tree or street scene in real life, a place you rarely go. It's not a huge disaster, but it gives you that curious, how did that happen, feeling. That small personal moment is a tiny, gentle echo of what we're talking about, but on a much bigger, more public scale. It's just a brief moment where things line up in a way that feels a little too perfect to be entirely random. These moments, where a still image seems to hold a glimpse of what's coming, don't mean we can truly see the future, but they do invite us to notice the deep connections in the world around us. They remind us that life isn't always a straight line. Sometimes, it gently loops back on itself, showing us strange reflections of what was and what is to be. It's a quiet whisper, urging us to simply observe, to feel the mystery, and to wonder at the quiet unseen threads that tie our moments together. It's about seeing the world with more awe, understanding that some things just are, and sometimes that quiet wonder is enough. The president's eerie premonition. Have you ever woken from a dream so real, so vivid, that it felt like a glimpse into tomorrow? A quiet feeling in your gut, whispering of something that hasn't happened yet, but feels true. This is a premonition, a moment when the future seems to cast a long, faint shadow backward, reaching us before its time. Throughout history, people have spoken of these strange insights. They appear across cultures and ages, in quiet moments or vivid sleep. Even those burdened with the heaviest responsibilities, like presidents, have faced such unsettling feelings. Take Abraham Lincoln, for example. Just days before he was killed, Lincoln reportedly had a vivid dream. In this dream, he heard weeping in the White House. He followed the sounds until he came to a coffin, guarded by soldiers, with a crowd grieving nearby. When he asked who had died, a soldier told him it was the president, killed. He woke up shaken, deeply troubled. It felt less like a dream and more like a warning. Here's the thing, our minds are amazing. Sometimes they seem to pick up on subtle clues, small pieces of information we aren't even aware of. It's like when you're working on a math problem, and the answer just clicks, even before you've written down all the steps. Or you feel a shiver, a chill, just before the door opens, and a gust of wind blows in. Is it just a random guess, or is our mind processing something faster than we realize? giving us a hint. These moments make us pause and wonder. They suggest that maybe there's a delicate fabric connecting everything, weaving past, present, and future in ways we can barely imagine. It's a quiet mystery, a reminder that the world holds more wonder than we often see, inviting us to be open to the soft whispers of what might be. The coin that saved a life. Have you ever stopped to think how a tiny, everyday object, like a simple coin, could quietly steer your whole life? It might sound like something from a story, but sometimes the smallest twist of chance is all it takes for our path to suddenly change. We often imagine our lives as big journeys with grand plans, but so many moments are shaped by things we barely notice. It's like the world has these unseen threads, gently pulling us based on tiny, almost random events. People long ago, in ancient times, often spoke of destiny, believing our lives were already sketched out for us. But maybe it's not always a huge, unchangeable map. Sometimes it's just a loose thread catching on something small. Imagine the story of a soldier in a war, carrying a coin in their uniform pocket. A bullet, meant to pierce their skin, instead strikes that coin. The coin, a simple piece of metal, takes the hit, stops the bullet, and saves a life. That soldier's future, their family's joy, every single moment after that, all happened because of a tiny, unexpected shield. Or think about a time in your own life. Perhaps you dropped your pen just as you were about to leave a room, and that small delay made you bump into someone you really needed to talk to. Or you found a coin on the ground, and bending down for it meant you saw something important you would have otherwise missed. These aren't big, dramatic acts. They are the quiet whispers of chance. Here's the thing about these moments. They are everywhere. Our lives are built on countless little decisions and accidental happenings. A dropped book, a sudden urge to check your phone, a forgotten item that makes you turn back. Each one is a silent pivot point. So, the next time you see something small and ordinary, remember its hidden power. It's a quiet reminder that every single piece of our journey, every tiny moment, truly matters. Our lives are woven from these countless, gentle shifts, all connected, all guiding us forward. It makes you pause, doesn't it, to think about how fragile and incredibly connected everything truly is. Your name, my name, our destiny. Have you ever stopped to really think about your name? Not just the letters on your birth certificate, but what it means to you, or how it feels when someone calls it out. And have you ever met someone with your exact name, or heard a name that felt strangely familiar, as if it carried a secret message just for you? Sometimes, names seem to dance through our lives in surprising ways, hinting at connections we can't quite explain. From ancient times, people have believed names hold a special power. They weren't just labels. They were almost like a part of your soul, or a thread tying you to a bigger story, to your family, or even to the very land you lived on. In many cultures, names were chosen with great care, hoping they would shape a child's future, giving them strength or wisdom, or linking them to heroes of the past. It was like putting a secret code into someone's identity, believing a name could guide a path, maybe even a destiny. Here's the thing, sometimes the names of people or places seem to line up in odd ways, creating a sense of wonder. Imagine you have a really unusual last name, one you've never met anyone else with in your whole life. Then, one day, you're reading a dusty old book about a famous explorer from a century ago, and there it is, your exact, unique last name, etched into history. Or perhaps your first name is something a little less common, like Larkin, and you find out your great-grandmother, who you never met, lived on a street called Larkin Lane and loved to collect pictures of small singing birds. It's not just a common name. It feels like a specific, quiet echo across time, a whisper connecting you to something far away. Are these just random chances, like shuffling a deck of cards and getting a lucky hand? Or is there something more to it? Something delicate, like an invisible string pulling at names across time and space, weaving a story we can't fully see. We might never know for sure, and that's okay. But this quiet wonder, this sense of a gentle purpose, reminds us that the world is full of hidden links. It shows us how everything, even something as simple as a name, can be part of a bigger, beautiful, and truly mysterious tapestry of life. The vanishing island. Have you ever looked for something really hard and it just wasn't there? Like your favorite sweatshirt or a book you just put down. Now, imagine that something isn't a small object, but an entire island. Could a piece of land, miles wide, just disappear? For centuries, sailors and mapmakers told tales of islands that seemed to vanish, places drawn on old charts, marked by explorers, but then, when others went looking, nothing, just open ocean. One famous example is an island called Thule, or Hebrazel, appearing on maps for hundreds of years. People believed it was a real place, a misty, magical land that only showed itself occasionally. But then, as ships got better and navigation became more precise, these islands stopped appearing on new maps. They were gone. So, here's the thing. Did these islands actually sink beneath the waves? Sometimes yes. Volcanic islands can form and then erode quickly. But often, it was about how we saw the world. Early explorers, sailing into unknown waters, might have seen a fog bank that looked like land, or a mirage, or maybe even just miscalculated their position. Their maps, then, showed what they thought they saw, or what they hoped was there. Think about it like this. Remember when you were little and you thought a specific cloud looked exactly like a dragon? You were sure of it. But then, it drifted, changed shape, and suddenly it was just a regular cloud, or it vanished behind other clouds. The dragon wasn't really there, but your mind made sense of the shape you saw. These vanishing islands remind us that what we believe to be true, what we even draw on a map, is often shaped by our own eyes, our own stories, and the limits of our tools. The world is always changing, and so is our understanding of it, and that's okay. There's a quiet beauty in knowing that our maps are never truly finished, and that mystery can still drift on the horizon. The song on repeat. Have you ever had a song stuck in your head, one you haven't heard in ages? Maybe it's an old pop tune or a forgotten movie theme. You hum it to yourself, maybe even sing a few lines. Then, later that day, you switch on the radio or walk into a store, and there it is, your song, playing right then. It feels strange, doesn't it? Like the world is listening to your thoughts. This feeling, this aha moment, is what some people call synchronicity. It's not just a random coincidence. It's when two or more things happen at the same time, but they don't seem connected by normal cause and effect. Yet, they feel deeply meaningful to you. It's not about magic or psychic powers. Instead, it's about how your mind might connect dots in the world, making sense of events in a personal way. A long time ago, a famous thinker named Carl Jung spent a lot of time thinking about these moments. He was a psychologist, and he noticed that sometimes things line up in ways that feel too perfect to be by chance. He saw them as clues, maybe even whispers from something bigger, or from our own deep minds. He wasn't saying it was magic, but that these moments held a special meaning for the person who lived them. Think about it this way. You might be really needing to talk to a friend, feeling alone, and just then, your phone buzzes. It's that friend, texting you. They just felt like checking in. No one told them you were feeling down. There's no easy answer for why it happened, but here's the thing. It makes you feel less alone, doesn't it? It makes you feel like maybe the world understands you a little. These moments are reminders that life has hidden connections, beautiful and mysterious. They invite us to pause, to wonder, and to feel the quiet magic of simply being. A painting that spoke of tomorrow. Have you ever looked at an old picture and felt a strange chill, like it held a secret, a whisper from a time that hadn't even happened yet? It's curious, isn't it? How can something from the past seem to gaze into the future? For a long time, people have wondered about art's power, not just to show what was, but maybe what will be. Think about poets or dreamers. They sometimes seem to know things before they happen, not with magic, but perhaps by seeing patterns others miss. Artists might tap into a deep human feeling, a quiet current beneath everyday life. They paint a mood, a feeling, a scene that somehow echoes later events. It's like their brushes pick up faint signals from time, tiny ripples hinting at what's ahead. Here's the thing. This isn't about predicting lottery numbers. It's much softer. Imagine you're drawing a quiet forest path. You just feel like drawing it. Then, months later, you find a real path, exactly like your drawing, hidden near your house. Did your drawing cause the path? No, of course not. But maybe your mind was already sensing something, a quiet possibility forming. It's like how you sometimes have a strong gut feeling that turns out right. Our minds are amazing. They pick up on more than we realize. So, when we see a painting that seems to speak of tomorrow, it makes us stop and think. It reminds us that The world has connections we don't always see. It makes us wonder about hidden currents, the subtle threads that tie moments together. Maybe yesterday's art can be a quiet reflection of tomorrow's dawn. It's a beautiful thought, a reminder that some mysteries are felt more than understood. The ship that never sank. Have you ever wondered if some stories, even made-up ones, can hold a strange echo of the future? It's a feeling like the world whispers secrets, showing glimpses of what's to come, even when we don't realize it. This is one of those moments that makes you pause and think. Back in 1898, a writer named Morgan Robertson published a book called Futility, or The Wreck of the Titan. It told the tale of a giant, unsinkable ocean liner. This fictional ship was sailing in April when it hit an iceberg in the North Atlantic. Because it didn't have enough lifeboats, many died. The name of that ship in the story, the Titan. Now, here's the thing that will give you chills. 14 years later, in April of 1912, the Titanic, the largest ship ever built, began its first voyage. It was also called unsinkable. It also hit an iceberg in the North Atlantic. And yes, it too didn't have enough lifeboats for all its passengers, leading to great loss of life. Think about that. It's like someone wrote a detailed script for a disaster years before it actually happened. It's a bit like when you dream about something specific, and then the very next day, it happens just as you saw it. Maybe you dreamt of a friend wearing a silly hat, and then they show up at school in that exact hat. That feeling, that little shiver of how did I know, is what this ship story brings. So, what does this tell us? Was it a prophecy, a strange warning, or just an incredibly detailed guess? A coincidence so sharp it challenges what we think we know about chance. Maybe it shows us that sometimes life echoes itself in unexpected ways. It makes us wonder about hidden currents beneath our everyday world, and how the line between fiction and reality can become thin, leaving us with a feeling of quiet awe. The family that found itself. Have you ever felt a tug, like something important was just waiting to be found? It's like finding a missing piece you didn't know was lost. Sometimes, life gives us these moments where families, or people who become family, find each other in unexpected ways. It's not just random. It feels like the universe connects lives that seemed separate. Think about it this way. For a long time, people have wondered if there's more to life than just chance. People throughout history have wondered about these deep connections. They ask if there's a pattern we can't always see, an invisible thread that ties us all together. These coincidences, especially ones that bring people together, can feel like destiny. They make us wonder if our paths are somehow guided, even in our daily lives. It's like a quiet whisper telling us, you belong here. Here's an example. Imagine two people who've always felt a bit lost. Then, one day, they cross paths. Maybe they both collect the same unusual old books, or they both have the same rare birthmark. As they talk, they find out they were born on the same day, in the same small hospital, and were separated at birth. Suddenly, a huge piece of their life's puzzle clicks into place. It's more than just a meeting. It's like finding a part of yourself you didn't know was missing. It's finding a reflection, completing your story. These moments when families find each other or discover forgotten connections are deeply moving. They remind us that we are all part of something bigger. They show us that sometimes, important parts of our story are already out there, waiting for us. It makes us feel less alone, knowing there are hidden connections, waiting to reveal themselves. It's a beautiful thought, isn't it? That some threads of our lives are woven together, long before we ever see them. The house with too many secrets. Have you ever walked into an old house and felt something, a quiet hum, maybe, like the walls remember stories? Or visited a place where strange things just seem to keep happening, over and over again? Here's the thing about coincidences. Sometimes, they don't just happen to people. They seem to cling to places. Imagine an old house where different families live across 100 years, and somehow, for each family, a peculiar event happens. Not exactly the same, but similar enough to make you pause. It's like the house itself has a memory, an invisible blueprint for strange events. For a long time, people have wondered about this. Ancient cultures built temples on spots they felt had special energy. They believed some places were sacred, or even cursed. This idea that land can hold echoes of the past is a deep human feeling. It's not just about what people do there, it's what the place itself might influence. Is it fate, or something in the very air? Think about a worn path in a park. Thousands walk there over years. The grass is gone, replaced by dirt. The path wasn't planned. It just appeared because so many footsteps followed the same easy route. A house with too many secrets is like that, but for strange events. It's as if an invisible path for coincidences has been worn into the place. Maybe one resident finds a hidden diary, then decades later, another finds a hidden letter in the exact same spot. It's a specific echo, and so we wonder, do places truly carry whispers of past events, drawing similar moments to them like magnets, or is it simply that our minds, always looking for order, connect dots that were never meant to be connected? Either way, when you stand in a place like that, it's hard not to feel a quiet awe. It makes you think about how everything might be connected. The world holds mysteries deeper than we often imagine. Seeing double on the bus, have you ever looked across a crowded space and seen someone who looked exactly like a friend? Or maybe you heard a very unique name, only to hear it again moments later. It makes you stop and think, doesn't it? This feeling of seeing double isn't just about looking like someone else. It's about how the world sometimes seems to echo itself, repeating patterns or people in unexpected ways. For a long time, people have told stories about doppelgangers. That's a German word for a double-goer, someone who looks exactly like you, but isn't related. These old tales often made people wonder if seeing your double was a sign, maybe even a warning. They made folks think about how connected everything might be, or if there were hidden forces at play. It's a way of asking, is anything truly just random, or is there a quiet rhythm to the universe, playing out patterns we just sometimes glimpse? Here's the thing, it doesn't have to be a mystical double. It can be simpler. Imagine you're on a bus, listening to your favorite song, and suddenly the person next to you hums the exact same tune, at the exact same part. Or you might be learning about a really specific historical event in class, and then that night, you see a movie that's all about it. It feels more than just a coincidence, right? It feels like the universe is giving you a little wink, showing you connections you might not have noticed, like two separate threads suddenly twisting together. These moments, when things align in such an uncanny way, remind us how vast and mysterious life is. They aren't meant to freak us out, but to make us think. They invite us to pause, to notice the gentle whispers of the world around us. Maybe they suggest that even in our big, busy world, there are subtle, invisible threads connecting us all, making patterns too strange to be just chance. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the quiet magic hidden in plain sight, just waiting for us to notice. The forgotten toys return. Have you ever lost something you loved deeply, something you searched for everywhere, until your heart just knew it was gone for good? And then, maybe years later, out of nowhere, that very thing just appears, not because you found it, but because it somehow found its way back to you. This is the curious case of the forgotten toy's return. But it's more than just a toy. It's about objects, memories, and even people making impossible comebacks. For centuries, people have puzzled over moments like these. Is it just pure chance, or is there some invisible thread, some quiet echo in the universe, pulling things back into place? Ancient stories often speak of destiny, of things being meant to be. But here's the thing, it's simpler. Maybe it's just the strange, beautiful dance of probability and memory, playing out in ways we can't predict. Think about that one special toy from when you were little. A worn-out teddy bear, a favorite action figure, maybe a doll. You played with it until it was practically falling apart. Then, one day, it vanished. You were heartbroken. You grew up, and the memory faded. But then, years later, while cleaning out an old box in your grandma's attic, there it is, tucked away, dusty, but unmistakably yours. It wasn't in that box. Before you know it wasn't. It just, showed up. What does that feel like? A soft wave of warmth, a gentle jolt of wonder. It's a moment that whispers about how even the lost things aren't truly gone. It suggests that sometimes the universe holds on to our little treasures, waiting for the perfect, quiet moment to deliver them back. This reminds us of forgotten connections and the beautiful, unpredictable magic woven into our everyday lives. It's a peaceful reminder that sometimes the past isn't just behind us. It's waiting for us to rediscover it in the most surprising ways. The ghost of a lost friend. Have you ever thought really hard about someone you miss? Someone who isn't around anymore. Maybe they moved away or passed on. And then, moments later, something happens that makes you stop and wonder, like they're right there with you. This feeling, this strange little moment, is what we sometimes call the ghost of a lost friend. But here's the thing, it's not a real ghost. It's more like a powerful memory, a deep connection that suddenly shows up in the world around you. Think about it. Have you ever been missing a pet from when you were little? Maybe you're just remembering their warm fur or their funny habits, and then, out of nowhere, you see a picture of a similar animal, or find an old toy that belonged to them, tucked away in a drawer you haven't opened in ages. It's like the universe heard your thoughts and gave you a little nudge. For centuries, people have felt these strange echoes. Ancient cultures, for example, often believed that parts of a person, like their spirit or their energy, could linger, not in a scary way, but as a gentle presence, a sign that love and life leave lasting marks. It reminds us that our minds are incredibly powerful. When we miss someone, our brains are already wired to look for them, to see their influence everywhere. So, when a coincidence pops up, it feels incredibly meaningful. It's a way the past can quietly tap you on the shoulder. These moments tell us that even when someone is gone, or far away, their impact on us, the memories we share, are still very much alive. They echo through our lives, showing up in surprising, comforting ways. It's a beautiful reminder of how deeply we connect with others, and how those connections can truly last forever, even just in memory. A number that follows me. Have you ever noticed a certain number that seems to follow you, popping up in unexpected places? Maybe it's your birthday, or a number from a truly special day. It might appear on clocks, street signs, or even in your grocery total. It doesn't just feel random. It feels personal, like a quiet secret, just for you. This strange pull towards a specific number is a common human experience. It's not magic, but it sure feels uniquely special, hinting at something more than chance. For centuries, people have sought deeper meaning in numbers. Ancient thinkers, like Pythagoras, believed numbers held the secrets of the universe. They saw patterns everywhere, thinking these were clues to a grand, hidden design. Our brains seem wired to search for order, to make sense of the world around us. We crave connection, even with a repeating digit dot. Think about the feeling when you keep seeing 1111 on a digital clock. You glance at your phone, and there it is. Then, your receipt total shows $11.11. Or maybe your favorite number is 7. And you start seeing it everywhere, on a bus, a building, a friend's jersey. It's like your brain develops a special antenna, constantly scanning for that one signal. Once you pay attention, your mind gets incredibly good at spotting it. So, is the universe sending a sign? Or is it our amazing mind, sifting through countless pieces of information, just getting good at finding what it's looking for? Maybe the wonder isn't the number itself. Maybe it's how our minds seek out patterns, creating meaning in the ordinary flow of life. And that's why it matters. It reminds us how curious our minds can be. It's a gentle whisper from our own perception, inviting us to look closer at the quiet mysteries all around us. The day the clocks stopped, have you ever felt time itself hold its breath? Not in a dramatic movie way, but quietly, subtly, as if the usual rhythm of the world paused just for a second. We're talking about those moments when coincidences don't just happen, but they unfold with an impossible, perfect timing. It's like the universe's clock stopped just long enough for two unlikely events to perfectly align, leaving us to wonder how. Here's what I found. For ages, people have looked at these kinds of moments and felt a deep sense of wonder. Was it just random luck? Or was there something else at play? A hidden pattern, a gentle nudge from forces we can't see or explain. Ancient thinkers, and even thinkers today, ask themselves if time is truly just a straight line, or if it has secret pathways where certain events are meant to meet. It's a thought that wraps around your mind like a soft fog. Imagine this. You're running a bit late for school, maybe you spilled your juice, or you couldn't find your backpack. Just a few minutes delay. You finally rush out the door, feeling annoyed. But then, you hear on the news later that morning about a minor accident on the exact street where your bus usually passes. Right at the time you would have been there, because you were a few minutes late, your bus was past the spot, or hadn't reached it yet. That small, irritating delay, that feeling of time slowing down for you, might have actually shifted your path. It's as if a tiny hand gently adjusted the gears of the clock, just for that moment. These aren't just stories, they are tiny mysteries that make us pause. They whisper of a connection, a rhythm deeper than what our everyday lives usually show us. When the clocks seem to stop for a moment like that, it's a gentle reminder that maybe, just maybe, there's more to time and chance than we can ever fully grasp. It leaves you with a quiet, reflective feeling, like looking at stars and wondering about the vastness of everything. The letter from nowhere. Have you ever had a moment when something appeared, or a message arrived, that felt impossibly perfect, almost like it was meant only for you? It's like finding a letter on your doorstep with no return address, but its words speak directly to your heart or answer a question you were just thinking about. This feeling of a precise connection without a clear cause is what we call the letter from nowhere. For centuries, people have wondered about these kinds of happenings. Ancient thinkers, long before our time, used to call them signs or omens. It wasn't about magic, exactly, but about moments that felt like the universe was winking at them, hinting at hidden patterns. A famous idea that helps us think about this is synchronicity. This big word just means when two or more things that aren't obviously connected happen at the same time in a way that feels meaningful to you. It's not cause and effect, it's more like a meaningful pattern popping up out of the blue dot. So imagine you're walking home from school, feeling a bit down. You've been thinking about a tough problem in math class all day. Suddenly, you look down, and right there on the sidewalk is a lost flashcard with the exact formula you needed to remember for that problem. Or, you've been wanting to talk to an old friend you lost touch with, and the very next day, they text you out of the blue, saying hi. It's like the universe, or some unseen force, knew what you needed and delivered it. These letters from nowhere might just be amazing coincidences, or, perhaps, they hint at a deeper connection between all things, a kind of invisible thread, weaving through our lives. They make us pause and notice the small wonders, reminding us that even in a world that can sometimes feel random and overwhelming, there are still moments of surprising order and quiet meaning that can make us feel connected to something bigger. The identical strangers. Have you ever stopped on the street, totally frozen, because you just saw someone who looked exactly like you? Not a sibling, not a cousin, but a complete stranger with your exact features. It's a strange feeling, like seeing a glitch in the world. This is the idea of a doppelganger, a German word meaning doppelganger. It's not about being twins. It's about two people, totally unrelated, who could somehow pass for each other. For centuries, people have been fascinated by this. Some old stories saw doppelgangers as a kind of ghostly double, a warning or a sign of what's to come. But here's the thing, it also makes you wonder about the mystery of human faces. With billions of people on Earth, how is it possible that faces can repeat? It makes you think about how truly unique each of us is, but also how we're all connected by similar patterns. It's a quiet wonder, really. Think about it this way. Imagine you're in a huge crowd, maybe at a big sporting event or a concert. You glance across and suddenly, there they are. The person with your exact hair, the same little scar above their eyebrow, even the way they hold their head. It's almost unsettling, like seeing your own reflection in someone else's mirror. Scientists might explain it by looking at genetics, how we all share so much common DNA, and sometimes those shared genetic bits line up in astonishing ways, creating similar faces in different families. It's a natural event, but still, it feels like magic. So, what does it mean when the world shows you a stranger who mirrors your very face? Maybe it just shows us the incredible variety of life, but also its surprising patterns. It might whisper to us that we are all part of something bigger, a vast, interwoven tapestry of humanity, where threads sometimes cross in unexpected, beautiful ways. It's a gentle thought, really, a soft reminder that even when we feel completely unique and alone, there's a quiet hum of connection, linking us to faces that echo our own, somewhere out there. The bell that rang for no reason. Have you ever felt it? That strange little nudge inside you, a feeling that something important is about to happen, even when nothing seems to be going on. It's like a quiet bell suddenly ringing, but you can't see who pulled the rope. This is that moment of a bell ringing for no reason, a powerful, unexplainable coincidence that feels deeply personal, almost like a secret message just for you. Here's the thing, we often dismiss these moments. We call them chance, or luck, or just our imagination. But for centuries, people have felt these unexplained connections. Ancient cultures watched for signs in nature, believing that certain events, even seemingly random ones, carried hidden meanings or were whispers from something bigger than us. Even today, some thinkers suggest that these aren't just random events colliding. Instead, they might be meaningful coincidences where outer events somehow connect with our inner thoughts or feelings, creating a surprising harmony. Think about this: you're sitting in class, maybe feeling a little down about something, and out of nowhere, you doodle a tiny drawing of a four-leaf clover. Then, later that day, walking home, your foot kicks something small in the grass, and there it is, a real four-leaf clover. Or you're worrying about a test, and a classmate you haven't talked to in ages suddenly texts you, saying, "Hey, good luck with that test tomorrow." How did they know you were thinking about it, or even feeling nervous? These aren't always big, dramatic events. Sometimes it's small, quiet, and personal. It's that tiny moment when the universe seems to wink at you, saying, "I see you." So, what does it mean when the bell rings for no reason? Maybe it's a reminder that the world is more connected than we imagine. A beautiful mystery always humming beneath the surface. Perhaps it's a gentle invitation to pay closer attention, to wonder about the unseen threads that tie our inner lives to the world around us. It makes you think, doesn't it? A name written in the stars. Have you ever felt a shiver, a quiet wonder, when two separate parts of your life suddenly click into place? It's like the universe is giving a gentle nod, a subtle hint that some connections run deeper than chance. This feeling, this strange sense of destiny, is what people mean when they talk about a name written in the stars. It isn't about actual words painted across the night sky, but about moments where names, places, or even certain events align in ways that feel too perfect to be random. For a very long time, humans have gazed at the vast, silent canvas of the night. They saw stars forming patterns, and they wondered. Many ancient cultures believed these bright dots held secrets about our lives, about paths we might walk, and about connections waiting to be discovered. They imagined a grand design, a hidden script woven into the fabric of everything. This idea isn't that every single moment is strictly planned out. Instead, it's a feeling that some threads in life are already loosely spun, waiting for us to find their ends and tie them together. It's a kind of quiet harmony, a sense of belonging in a larger story. Imagine you're reading a very old, forgotten book, and a character has a truly unusual name. Then, the very next day, you meet someone new, maybe at a new school or a camp, and their name is exactly the same as that rare character. Or, perhaps you learn that your favorite author shares a birthday with someone incredibly special in your life, even if they're from completely different worlds. These aren't big, earth-shattering events, but they are little moments, like tiny sparkles in the everyday, that make you pause and notice. These quiet echoes, these surprising alignments, invite us to think about how truly connected everything might be. Do these coincidences mean our paths are set in stone? Or do they simply show us the beautiful, intricate dance of life, where shared human experiences create surprising patterns? There's a calm wonder in not having all the answers. It allows us to simply appreciate the mystery, the deep, soft music of life that plays out around us, full of unexpected and gentle harmonies. The prediction in the poem. Have you ever read a story or a poem and felt like it knew something? Like it was whispering a secret about the future, even if the writer couldn't possibly have known? It's a strange, quiet feeling when words, crafted long ago, seem to predict events that happen much later. This isn't about magic. Instead, it's about a deeper mystery, how human imagination, poured into art, can sometimes touch realities yet to unfold. Think about how old stories often carried truths that felt timeless. They weren't just tales. They were ways people tried to understand the world. Sometimes, those understandings stretched far beyond their own time. It's like the human mind, when truly creative, can brush against possibilities, sketching what might one day be real. It's not a planned prediction. It's more like an echo from the future. Here's a famous example that really makes you wonder. Years before the real Titanic ocean liner was built and sank, a writer named Morgan Robertson wrote a book called Futility, or The Wreck of the Titan. This book described a massive, unsinkable ocean liner, also named the Titan. It hit an iceberg in the North Atlantic and sank, with many lives lost due to not enough lifeboats. The details were eerily similar: the ship's size, its unsinkable nature, the time of year, and the cause of the disaster. Was it just a wild guess? Or did the writer's imagination, in some quiet way, connect with the shadow of what was to come? It makes you think about the power of our minds, doesn't it? Perhaps our dreams, our stories, the very art we create, can sometimes reach beyond the present. Maybe it's a quiet reminder that the threads connecting everything are more tangled and wonderful than we realize. In the quiet verses of a poem or the bold strokes of a story, a whisper of tomorrow might just be waiting for us to hear. The car that knew the way home. Have you ever felt a strange pull towards something, like an old house or a forgotten path, as if it holds a secret memory? It's like that feeling when you just know how to get somewhere, even if you haven't been there in years, and your car seems to glide there on its own. This isn't magic, but a deeper thought. What if things, not just people, could hold echoes of the past? Imagine a car, driven for decades by one family, always taking the same route to a favorite cabin. One day, a new driver, a stranger, gets behind the wheel. They're lost, confused by the directions, but the car, almost without conscious input, seems to guide itself, turning precisely when it should, arriving at the cabin. It's a true event that feels impossible. Here's the thing, it makes us wonder if objects can somehow absorb the patterns of our lives, like a faint memory clinging to them for a long time. People have felt this connection. Ancient cultures believed that places, rocks, even tools could hold a lingering presence from what happened there. It's why some old battlefields feel heavy, or why a grandparent's worn armchair just feels like them. It's a kind of invisible history, subtly clinging to the physical world. Think about a well-used pathway in a park. Countless footsteps wear down the grass, creating a clear trail. No one planned it, but constant movement created a path that now invites new people to follow. It almost seems to know the way. In a mysterious way, some believe repeated actions or strong emotions in a place or around an object can leave an imprint. It's like the world remembers, even when we don't. So, when that old car seemed to find its way home, it was a whisper from the past, showing us how deeply connected everything might be, in ways we are only just beginning to feel. The unseen hand that saved me. Have you ever felt like a quiet whisper pushed you in a certain direction, just at the right time? It's a strange feeling, like a moment of perfect timing that couldn't possibly be accidental. We often call it luck, but sometimes it feels deeper, like an unseen hand gently guiding us away from harm or towards something good. It's not about grand miracles, but about those small, everyday instances where everything aligns in a way that truly feels meant to be. For thousands of years, people across different cultures have wondered about these moments. Ancient thinkers sometimes talked about fate, like a grand story already written, where every step has a purpose. The Greeks had a concept called moira, a kind of destiny or lot that was unchangeable. Other thinkers, even in more modern times, have simply marveled at the sheer randomness of the world, where tiny events can somehow fit together like pieces of a puzzle to create a perfect outcome. It's the feeling that even in chaos, there's a hidden order, a secret dance of events we can't quite see. Yet somehow it benefits us. Think about this. Imagine you're rushing to school, maybe a little lost in thought, and you suddenly feel an urge to tie your shoelace, even though it seems fine. You bend down, taking a few extra seconds. As you stand up, a bike whizzes past, right where your head would have been a moment earlier. That tiny, seemingly random urge, that slight delay, could have steered you clear of a serious bump. It's not about seeing the danger, but feeling like something nudged you aside, just enough to keep you safe. It's like the universe paused, just for you, to guide you to safety in a subtle, almost silent way. These experiences don't always mean there's a magical force controlling everything. But here's the thing, they do invite us to look closer at the delicate threads connecting our lives. They make us wonder about the incredible, often invisible, ways things align. It's about finding wonder in the pattern, even if we don't fully understand the weaver. And that's why it matters. It's a quiet reminder of the deep, often beautiful mystery that plays out around us every single day, encouraging us to notice the wonder in the everyday, and perhaps to trust the gentle nudge of life itself. The cat that traveled worlds. Have you ever wondered if the universe has a secret way of bringing things back to us, like a lost toy finding its way home after years, or a song you haven't heard in ages, suddenly playing everywhere? These aren't just small chances. Sometimes it feels like something has journeyed across entire worlds, just to meet you again. This idea, the cat that traveled worlds, isn't about a literal cat. It's about those unbelievable coincidences where something or someone makes an impossible journey to reappear in your life. Imagine a small object, a tiny memory, or even a fleeting thought. It pops up exactly when and where you least expect it. It's like it traveled not just miles, but through many paths of time and chance to find its spot. For a long time, people have thought about how our lives connect. Old thinkers wondered about destiny, about invisible strings pulling us. Even now, we see how a small action can lead to big, surprising results. Our lives are full of these invisible threads, crossing and tangling in ways we can barely see. Sometimes, they bring things back together. Here's the thing. Imagine you write a message in a bottle and toss it into the ocean. Years pass, you forget it. Then, one day, you're on a vacation thousands of miles away, walking on a distant beach. And there it is, your very own bottle, washed ashore. How did it travel through countless waves and storms to land at your feet? It's not just luck. It feels like that bottle, your message, truly traveled worlds to find its way. These moments make us pause. They hint at a hidden pattern in the messy dance of life. They remind us that perhaps, deep down, everything is connected in ways we don't fully understand. And maybe, just maybe, the things meant for us will always find their way, no matter how far they have to travel. The voice from the radio. Have you ever had one of those moments that just feels perfect? Like you're humming a song you haven't heard in ages, and then, suddenly, it starts playing on the radio. Or you're thinking about an old friend you haven't seen forever, and then your phone buzzes with a text from them. These moments are more than just luck. They feel like a quiet tap on the shoulder from the universe. For centuries, people have wondered about these strange connections. It's not about magic, not exactly. It's more like two different paths crossing at exactly the right time, in a way that feels meaningful to you. Think about it like this. You're walking home, feeling a bit sad. You don't know why, but you just are. And then, a random car drives by, and the radio is loud enough for you to hear a song. That song talks about finding hope, or feeling understood, and it hits you just right. It feels like the song was meant for you, right then, in that exact moment. Here's the thing. The car didn't know you were sad. The song wasn't played because of your feelings. But the timing of everything made it feel special. It made you wonder. It's like when scientists talk about how tiny, unrelated actions can somehow line up to create a surprising outcome. Not that these everyday coincidences are that huge, but the idea is similar. Small things can happen in surprising ways. These moments, like a voice from the radio speaking directly to your heart, invite us to pause. They whisper that maybe life isn't just a jumble of random events. Maybe there's a gentle, unseen rhythm to it all. It reminds us that even in our quietest moments, we might be connected to something larger, something beautiful and mysterious, that we don't fully understand. And that can be a comforting thought. The town of duplicate names. Have you ever met someone with your exact first and last name? It's a little strange, right? Now, imagine not just two people, but whole lives, whole stories, unfolding centuries apart, yet somehow mirroring each other. It's like history has its own town of duplicate names, where the universe seems to reuse characters for new plays. Here's the thing. Sometimes, people who lived hundreds of years ago seem to share eerily similar paths with people alive today. It's not about being reborn. It's more about how life can echo itself, like a faint ripple across a long pond. Ancient thinkers sometimes wondered if time was truly a straight line, or if certain patterns just naturally come back around, like seasons returning. They thought maybe certain types of people were simply meant to reappear in new forms. It makes you think about how quietly interconnected everything might be. Think about this. Imagine you have a truly unique name, like Alara Quill, and then you find out there was an Alara Quill who lived 200 years ago. She loved painting stars, had an unusual pet crow, and even dreamed of living in the same small mountain town you hope to call home. It's not just a name. It's a string of small, surprising connections. It makes you pause and wonder about the quiet threads that weave through time, linking lives that seem totally separate. So when we look at these duplicate names from the past, it's not to say that destiny is set. Instead, it's a gentle reminder of how wonderfully strange everything can be. It reminds us that even across vast distances of time, we might find pieces of ourselves reflected in lives lived long ago. It's a quiet wonder, really, how the human story often hums the same melody. century after century, a beautiful, repeating song across time. My shadow, someone else's life. Have you ever felt like you're walking a path someone else walked before? Not just déjà vu, but a feeling that parts of your life echo another's journey. It's a strange thought, isn't it? This idea touches on one of the most mysterious kinds of coincidences, when lives seem to mirror each other. Imagine two totally separate people, perhaps centuries apart, yet their stories play out with unbelievably similar twists. It's like one life is a shadow cast by another. No one planned it, it just happened. Long ago, thinkers wondered about such patterns. They talked about destiny, or how history often repeats. But here's the thing, we're talking about incredibly specific events, not just general trends. It's like the universe has a limited number of scripts. Sometimes, different people unknowingly get handed the same one. Think of it this way. Imagine two separate raindrops falling onto a complex maze. Against all odds, they both take almost the exact same route. Or, picture two unrelated people, both famous writers, who also break an arm on their 12th birthday and name their first pet Whiskers. It's almost too specific to be random. This kind of coincidence makes you pause. It makes you wonder about hidden currents beneath our lives. Are we truly unique, or are we sometimes living out roles that have been lived before? It's not about fate controlling us. It's about a deep, quiet mystery in the fabric of existence. It reminds us that maybe we are all part of a much larger, stranger pattern. And that thought can be both a little freaky and wonderfully humbling. The key that fit every lock. Imagine holding a single magical key. This key opens every lock you find, no matter how different. Sounds impossible, right? But what if this key wasn't metal, but an idea, one that suddenly makes sense of so many random, freaky coincidences? Sometimes, we find a concept or pattern that feels like this universal key. It's like a hidden rule connecting events with no obvious link. People have thought about this for ages. A thinker named Carl Jung called it synchronicity. He believed it was more than just luck. It was about meaningful coincidences. Events happen without a clear cause, but they feel deeply connected. It's like the universe is whispering a secret, showing a pattern you never saw before. Think about this. Say you learn about a rare type of bird for a school project. You've never heard of it before, but then, suddenly, you see it everywhere. On a t-shirt, in a movie, a friend mentions it. It feels like the universe is shouting this bird's name. But here's what happened. The bird was always there. You just didn't notice it. Once you had the key, the knowledge of that bird, your mind started to pick up on it. That one piece of information felt like it unlocked countless hidden sightings. So, does a true key that fit every lock actually exist out there? Or is it something our own minds create by learning to see patterns that were always there? It makes you wonder, are coincidences truly random? Or are they threads in a much bigger, quieter tapestry, waiting for us to find the right way to see them? It's a gentle reminder that the world holds many secrets. Maybe the greatest key to understanding them lies within how we choose to look. The mirror that showed the future. What if you could glance into tomorrow? Not with a magic looking glass, but with something deeper inside you. Imagine a mirror that doesn't just show your reflection, but offers a whisper of what's to come. A faint echo of events before they even unfold. This isn't about fantasy. It's about the strange feeling some call precognition. It's like your mind gets a quiet hint, a subtle nudge about something that hasn't happened yet. For centuries, people have wondered about this. Ancient cultures looked to dreams, or to signs in nature, as if the world itself was trying to send messages from the future. It's not about being a fortune teller. Think about it like this. Sometimes you just know something is going to happen, even if you can't say why. It's like when we feel a sudden chill just before a strong gust of wind, or that strange, quick feeling of déjà vu, where a moment feels like it already happened. It's almost like our brains are playing a tiny trick, showing us a memory of something that's only just arriving. So, here's what happens sometimes. You might be thinking about a friend you haven't talked to in ages, and then your phone rings, and it's them. Or you have a sudden, clear image of a specific object, and then you stumble upon it minutes later. These aren't always huge, dramatic events. They're often soft nudges, quiet signals that make you pause and wonder. It's like a glimpse in that subtle mirror, showing you a fragment of what's unfolding, just a moment before it does. So, is it just our minds making clever guesses, putting pieces together super fast? Or is there something more to it? a subtle thread connecting moments in time that we can sometimes, just sometimes, feel pull. Perhaps the mirror isn't made of glass, but in the quiet, reflective spaces of our own thoughts, showing us glimpses of a world that is always, always unfolding in mysterious ways. It makes you think about how much we truly know about time, and the strange ways our thoughts can dance with what's to come. The friend I met before we met, have you ever wondered if the universe nudges us, ever so slightly, toward the people we're meant to meet? It's a strange thought, isn't it? This isn't about just running into someone, but feeling like you encountered a piece of them, or a shadow of them, before they even truly entered your life. It's like a whisper of recognition, long before you can put a name to the face. Here's the thing, sometimes we find out we shared a moment, a place, or even a deep interest with someone years before we actually became friends. This idea isn't new. For a long time, thinkers have talked about how things connect in unexpected ways. They've called it synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that feel like more than just luck. It's the feeling that seemingly random events are actually linked, like threads in a giant, invisible tapestry. Think about it like this. Maybe you're scrolling online, looking at pictures from a summer camp you went 2 years ago, and then you spot someone in the background of one of your old photos, someone you didn't know then. Later, that person becomes your best friend in high school. Or maybe you both read the exact same obscure book series in middle school, never knowing the other existed, only to bond over it intensely years later. It's not just a small world. It's a world where paths crisscross in ways we don't always notice until much later. These moments don't prove anything, really, but they do make you pause. They remind us that life is full of hidden connections, like roots growing beneath the soil, unseen but always there. And that's why it matters. It hints at a deeper rhythm, a quiet dance of moments and people that makes the journey of meeting someone feel a little more magical, a little more destined. In the gentlest way, it makes you wonder what other hidden threads are out there, waiting to be discovered. A storm that knew my name. Have you ever felt like the world was sending you a message? Not a clear one, but a whisper, or a strange echo that felt meant just for you. It's a powerful feeling, especially when big, random things happen, and you somehow feel tiny threads pulling them right to your doorstep, like a vast storm, churning miles away, yet every raindrop seems to have your name written on it. Personally, this feeling, where huge, impersonal events seem strangely connected to our own lives, has puzzled people for ages. Ancient thinkers often looked at the stars, or the path of a comet, and saw signs for their own fate. They believed nothing was truly random. They searched for deeper meanings, for a hidden dance between the giant universe and our small, human hearts. It's like when you're walking, lost in thought, and then a song plays on the radio that perfectly describes what you're feeling, word for word. You might think, wow, how did that happen? That song gets me. Of course, the scientific world tells us it's likely just coincidence. The storm doesn't really know your name. The song on the radio is random. But here's the thing, our minds are built to find patterns. We look for connections, even when they aren't obviously there. We want to believe that something so big, so wild, like a roaring thunderstorm, could somehow be speaking to us. And maybe, in a way, it is. Not because the storm has a mind, but because we have minds that seek meaning. We paint our feelings onto the canvas of the world. So, when life throws a powerful, random event our way, and it perfectly mirrors an inner feeling, we feel seen. It's a moment where the vastness of the universe somehow feels personal. And in that feeling, we find a strange comfort, a quiet wonder. It reminds us how much we want to belong, even to the wild, unknowable dance of chance. The book I needed. Right now, have you ever looked for something to make sense of a tough day, or a big question in your head? Then, suddenly, a book seems to just appear. Not one you were looking for. Maybe a friend mentions it, or you see it on a shelf, and something tells you to pick it up. You open it, and there it is. The exact words, the perfect story, the advice you needed right then. It's like the book was waiting. This isn't just a normal coincidence, is it? It feels different. It feels meaningful. The famous thinker Carl Jung had a name for this: synchronicity. It's when two or more things happen at the same time. They don't seem connected by normal cause and effect, but they feel deeply related to you. They happen together in a way that just makes sense, even if you can't explain why. It's not magic. It's like the universe whispered something just for you. Think about this. You're totally overwhelmed by a big history project. You're stressed, staring at a blank page. Then, your older sibling, who usually just plays video games, suddenly says, "Hey, I just finished this book about how famous leaders handled pressure. Want to borrow it?" That book, somehow, has a chapter on breaking down big tasks and staying calm. It's not just history. It's the specific wisdom you needed, delivered at the exact right time. The timing is too perfect. These moments of synchronicity, like finding that perfect book, are like gentle nods from the world. They remind us that sometimes things align in ways we don't fully understand. It can make you feel less alone, like there's a quiet connection to something larger. It's a soft reminder that even when life feels messy, there might be a hidden order, a quiet rhythm waiting to be heard. It gives you a sense of wonder, a calm feeling that some things are just meant to be. The picture that echoed history. Have you ever looked at an old photograph and felt a strange pull, like it's trying to tell you something more than just what's in the shot? Sometimes, images from different times seem to mirror each other in an almost impossible way. It's not just that two people look alike. Instead, an entire moment or scene feels repeated. It's like history whispering back to us through a visual echo. This idea of a visual echo means that two completely separate pictures, taken years or even centuries apart, can capture the exact same feeling, composition, or a similar arrangement of events. It makes you wonder if certain patterns in life, certain human experiences, have a way of showing up again and again, almost like a recurring dream. It's not magic, but it hints at a deep connection within human nature or how things unfold. Here's the thing. Imagine you take a photo of your friend laughing, mid-jump, with the sunlight behind them. Years later, you might see an old photo from a different country, long ago, and notice someone else laughing, mid-jump, with sunlight in a surprisingly similar way. The people are different, the place is different, but the energy and asterisk visual setup asterisk feel uncannily alike. It's as if the universe decided to frame the same kind of feeling twice. This is like when a certain cloud looks exactly like one you remember from last year, even though it's a new day and a new sky. So, what are these pictures that echo history telling us? Maybe they suggest that while time pushes forward, some core parts of being human, some life patterns, are timeless. This can help you see we're all connected to the past in ways we might not even realize. And sometimes, those connections appear right before our eyes, caught forever in a single frame. It makes you pause and think about the quiet, repeating rhythms of our world. The message in a bottle. Found. Have you ever imagined finding something that felt like it was waiting just for you? Like walking a quiet beach, and there, half buried in the wet sand, you spotted an old corked bottle. Inside, a rolled up piece of paper. This isn't just a physical bottle. It's a feeling, a moment when something unexpected arrives, carrying a message that feels strangely meant for you. For a long time, people have stumbled upon these messages in a bottle in their lives, not always made of glass. They are the moments when a piece of the world, seemingly by chance, lands right at their feet, offering a thought or a connection. It makes you wonder if there's a hidden sender, or if the universe itself just sometimes whispers. It's like finding a small personal key you didn't even know you needed. Think about it this way. You're having a really tough day, feeling lonely, and wishing someone understood. Then, out of nowhere, an old friend you haven't spoken to in months sends you a text, sharing a feeling so similar to yours, it's uncanny. Or maybe you're stuck on a creative project, feeling totally out of ideas. You flip through a magazine, and a picture, or a random sentence, sparks the exact idea you needed. It feels like a small, comforting hand guiding you. These aren't always big, dramatic events. Sometimes, the message is tiny, a soft nudge. But here's the thing. Each one feels like a little secret, whispered across time and space, just for you. It's not about magic or proof. It's about that quiet moment when you stop and realize something just fit. It reminds us that maybe, just maybe, there are gentle currents in life, always flowing, bringing us exactly what we need, right? When we need it, without us even asking. It's a beautiful thought, isn't it? The strange case of the lost ring. Have you ever lost something that held a piece of your heart? Maybe a favorite locket, a drawing from childhood, or a ring that meant the world to you. And then, against all reason, long after you'd given up hope, it just appeared. Not found in a logical spot, but in the most unlikely place. at the strangest time. That moment isn't just a happy accident, is it? It feels like a whisper from the world, a gentle nudge hinting at something more. Think about a lost ring, maybe one passed down through your family for generations. It held stories, memories, a feeling of connection to those who came before you. Then, one day, it vanished. A piece of your history, just gone. You search everywhere, your heart sinking a little more with each passing day. Time goes by, years, even you try to forget the ache of its absence. And then, perhaps you're cleaning out an old box, or digging in a garden, and there it is. Not where it should have been, but somehow, it returned. For centuries, people have wondered about these moments. They've called it fate, or destiny, or even a kind of magic. Ancient philosophers might have said it was the threads of the universe weaving together in a secret pattern. They believed that sometimes, events that seem completely separate are actually connected in a way we can't see, like invisible strings pulling things into place. It's not about cause and effect, where one thing directly leads to another. It's more like two different melodies playing at the same time, suddenly harmonizing perfectly. It's like when you're humming a song you haven't heard in years, and then you turn on the radio, and there it is, the exact same song, playing right then. It feels too perfect to be just random. These moments, like the unexpected return of a lost ring, don't shout for attention. They don't demand an answer, but they leave us with a quiet sense of wonder. They remind us that maybe, just maybe, the world holds more mystery and interconnectedness than our everyday eyes can see. And sometimes, the most beautiful things are found when we've stopped looking, in the gentle, surprising dance of life. A bird that flew to my window. Have you ever had one of those quiet moments? Maybe you're just looking out a window, thinking quietly, and then something small but striking happens. Like a bird, maybe a tiny sparrow or a bold robin, suddenly flies right to your window pane. It might tap gently or just sit there, head tilted, looking in. And for a second, it feels like it's more than just a random bird. It feels significant, like a small, unexpected gift. This feeling when two things that seem unconnected somehow fit together has a name. Some smart thinkers, like a guy named Carl Jung, spent time wondering about these moments. He called it synchronicity. It's not about one thing causing the other. It's about two different events, one happening in the world outside us, and one inside our own thoughts or feelings, occurring at the same time in a way that feels deeply meaningful. Think about it this way. Maybe you've been feeling a bit down, a little lost, perhaps worrying about a problem. And then, a song comes on the radio, one you haven't heard in ages. The lyrics, the melody, they just perfectly describe how you feel, or even seem to offer an answer. It's not that the song caused your feelings, but its sudden appearance, right when you needed it, feels like a soft whisper from the world, just like the bird at the window. It's just a bird, right? It could be looking for food, or seeing its reflection, but for that brief moment, it feels like a quiet messenger. It makes you pause, it makes you wonder, are these moments just pure chance, a happy accident, or are they tiny threads, pulling at us, reminding us that sometimes, the world around us, and the world within us, are more connected than we usually imagine? It's a quiet wonder, a gentle nudge to pay attention to the small, strange echoes in life. The day the music stopped, have you ever felt it? That quiet moment when everything shifts, and the familiar rhythm of life suddenly just stops. Imagine the background hum of the city, the chirping of birds, even your own breath, vanishing for a second is not just about sound. It's about a pattern, a flow, that abruptly ends. Sometimes, life feels like a song playing on. We get used to its beat, its melody. We expect the next note. But what happens when the music just stops? This is about those strange coincidences, moments when the expected order simply pauses, leaving us in quiet wonder. It's like the universe holds its breath, just to show us something new. For a long time, people have looked for patterns. From the stars to the seasons, we try to find a natural rhythm. We like things to make sense, to follow a path, and mostly, they do. But, every now and then, something unexpected happens. The story takes a sharp turn, a streak of luck disappears, the comforting hum of life goes silent. Here's an example. Maybe you have a friend who always wears a specific color on a certain day. Every Tuesday, it's a blue shirt. You notice it, you expect it. It's a small pattern. But then, one Tuesday, They show up in bright red. The music of that blue shirt day has stopped. It's a tiny thing, but it makes you pause. You wonder why. Was it just a random switch? This feeling, when the expected pattern breaks, can make you think. It reminds us that life isn't always a smooth, predictable tune. Sometimes, it's a series of surprising silences and sudden changes, and that's okay. It's in those quiet pauses, those unexpected stops, that we sometimes see the most surprising and beautiful things. It reminds us to notice unique moments. 2 houses, 1 ghost story. Have you ever wondered if stories can echo? Not just words, but feelings, events, even strange happenings, repeating themselves in different places, without anyone planning it. It's like 2 separate houses, built years apart, in different towns, somehow end up with the same spooky tale attached to them. This idea, where similar coincidences unfold in completely unrelated settings, makes you pause. It's not about someone copying a story. It's about 2 separate lives, 2 separate locations, encountering eerily similar, often mysterious, events. Think about how ancient cultures, separated by vast oceans, sometimes developed shockingly similar myths about the stars, or the creation of the world, or heroes. They didn't talk to each other, but the same deep human questions, maybe even the same deep human dreams, led them to surprisingly similar answers. It makes you wonder if there's a kind of shared blueprint for certain experiences, or for how the world arranges itself. Here's the thing. Imagine you're at school, and you tell a friend about this weird dream you had where you were flying. And your friend says, "No way, I had a dream just like that last night." You didn't talk before, you didn't watch the same movie, but there, it was a shared, strange experience, a parallel moment. Now, scale that up to entire homes, or even generations, experiencing strangely similar things. It's like the universe has a few favorite melodies it likes to play, and sometimes, those melodies pop up in different places, at different times, played on different instruments. It's not magic, but it feels like it. It reminds us that maybe the fabric of existence, the very weave of things, is more connected than we usually think. These echoes, these parallel stories, they invite us to look closer, to feel the quiet hum of something vast and interwoven, asking us to simply wonder. The face in the crowd. Have you ever walked through a busy place, maybe a mall or a theme park, and suddenly paused? You catch sight of someone, and for a split second, your heart jumps. They look just like your favorite uncle, or a friend, from school, or maybe even you. Their smile, the way they walk, their hair, it's uncanny. Then, you realize it isn't them. It's a stranger, but that moment feels like magic. Seeing a familiar face on someone new has puzzled people for ages. Long ago, some cultures had stories about doppelgangers, a German word for They were seen as mysterious copies. It made people wonder, how could someone look so much like another, yet be totally separate? Here's the thing. Our world holds billions of people. The human form has a certain design, a limited set of features. So, with so many faces, some patterns are bound to repeat. It's like shuffling a deck of cards over and over. Eventually, you'll get similar hands. Think about it this way. Imagine you're scrolling through pictures online, maybe from a country far away, and then, out of nowhere, you see a person with your exact hair color, the same shape eyes, even a small birthmark, in the same spot on their hand, someone you've never met, but who could be your long-lost twin. It's not magic. It's simply the wild math of billions of human lives playing out across the globe. So when you see that face in the crowd, it's more than just a quick glance. It's a quiet reminder of how vast and surprising our world is. It makes you feel small and connected all at once. It makes you wonder about the quiet threads that link us, even when we are completely apart. It hints at the incredible, unnoticed coincidences shaping our human story every day. The unlucky numbers power. Have you ever noticed how some numbers just feel different, like they carry a certain weight, a whisper of something more? It's strange, because numbers are just symbols. They're meant to be neutral, right? But for so many people, across so many cultures, certain numbers aren't just numbers. They are seen as unlucky. Here's the thing. This isn't about math. This is about belief, and how our minds connect dots that might not even be there. For a very long time, people have woven deep stories and meaning into numbers. Think about the number 13. In many Western cultures, it's been tied to misfortune. Some buildings skip the 13th floor, Some airlines avoid a 13th row. And of course, there's Friday the 13th, a day that makes some people just a little more careful, worried about what might go wrong. It's not that the number itself does anything, it's what we've agreed it means, often without even realizing it. This isn't just an old idea. It truly shows how our own brains work, even today. Think about this. Imagine your favorite basketball player wears number 42. Someone tells you, 42 is unlucky in this sport. Players wearing it often get injured. Now, every time they have a bad game or get hurt, your brain thinks, it's the number. You look for evidence and find it, even if it's just normal sports injuries. It's like wearing special glasses, or a filter over your eyes, making you see what you expect to see, looking for that proof dot. So, the number itself is just a number. But our shared stories, our fears, and our human need to find patterns make us believe it has power. Perhaps the true mystery isn't in the number at all. Maybe it's in our own minds, and the surprising, sometimes freaky, ways we try to make sense of the world around us. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, how much of our reality is shaped by what we choose to believe? A dream that felt like a memory. Have you ever woken up from a dream, but it didn't feel like a dream at all? It felt more like a memory, something that already happened. It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Like your mind somehow visited the future, or pulled up a forgotten moment from deep inside you. Humans have wondered about these kinds of dreams for a long time. Ancient people, like the Egyptians and Greeks, often thought dreams were messages. They believed dreams could tell you about things to come, or connect you to something bigger than yourself. It wasn't just random brain activity to them. They saw dreams as a special way of knowing. Even now, some thinkers wonder if dreams tap into a shared human experience, like echoes of feelings or events we all somehow understand. Here's the thing. Sometimes, these dream memories feel incredibly real. Imagine you dream about a new student joining your class, someone with a specific way of talking or a unique backpack. Then, a few days later, that exact person shows up. It's not just close, it's exact. Or maybe you dream about walking down a street you've never seen, only to find yourself there months later, feeling a deep sense of "I've been here before." It's like your mind had a preview, or maybe it was remembering something you've already encountered in a way you can't quite grasp. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if our minds are more connected than we think? What if dreams aren't just jumbled thoughts from the day, but whispers from parts of ourselves we don't usually notice? Perhaps they are quiet reminders that there's more to memory, and to time itself, than what we see right in front of us. It's a gentle puzzle, inviting us to think about how truly vast and mysterious our own inner worlds can be. The book that predicted its author. Have you ever written something? Maybe a story for class or a journal entry, and then later, something strangely similar happened in your own life. It's a weird feeling, like your words somehow whispered to the future. Well, sometimes, this happens with books, not just for readers, but for the authors. Imagine a writer creating a whole world, with characters and events, only for parts of that story to mysteriously echo into their own life. It's not always a big, dramatic prophecy. Often, it's a quiet, unsettling alignment, where a theme, a detail, or a specific feeling from their book reappears in their own journey. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What is the connection between the stories we create and the lives we live? Some people think it's pure chance, a big coincidence. Maybe it is, but here's the thing. When an author pours their heart onto the page, they're exploring big ideas, like fear, hope, or change. And sometimes, those very themes become deeply personal to them later on. Think of it this way. Say you write a vivid story about a character who learns to be brave and try something new, even when scared. A year later, you might find yourself needing to be brave and step out of your comfort zone, like your character. It's not that your story caused it, but it's like you were already thinking about that challenge, exploring it in your writing, long before it arrived. This kind of coincidence, where a book seems to know its author's path, reminds us how mysterious life is. It's a soft whisper about the connection between our inner world of thoughts and stories and the real world around us. It suggests that in the quiet act of creation, we sometimes brush against what's yet to come, not predicting, but resonating with our own future. It's a gentle puzzle, a quiet beauty. The woman who knew my secret. Have you ever thought about someone really deeply, and then your phone rings, and it's them? Or maybe you're humming a song in your head, a really old one, and then your friend turns on the radio, and that exact song is playing. This feeling where someone seems to know something only you knew. It feels almost impossible, but sometimes it happens. It's not magic, but it definitely makes you wonder how connected we truly are. Here's the thing, for a long time, people have wondered if our minds are totally separate, or if there's a way they can touch. A famous thinker named Carl Jung once talked about something called the collective unconscious. It sounds like a big idea, and it is. But here's what he meant. Maybe deep down, all human minds share some common experiences, some basic patterns. It's like we're all connected to the same hidden library of thoughts and feelings, even if we don't realize it. So, when a bizarre coincidence happens, like someone knowing your secret thought, maybe it's just a tiny peek into this shared human space. Imagine you're thinking about a really specific, embarrassing memory from last summer, and then your friend brings up that exact moment in conversation, even though you've never talked about it before. It feels like they just reached into your mind, doesn't it? This happens more often than we think, in small ways. It's like sometimes our brains are just on the same frequency, like two radios tuned to the exact same station for just a moment. These moments are strange, right? They make us pause. They remind us that maybe, just maybe, we're not as alone in our thoughts as we imagined. Perhaps there's a quiet, unseen current flowing between us all, connecting our minds in ways we don't fully understand. It's a gentle mystery, making us wonder about the incredible, hidden links that bind us as people. It's a thought that can feel both a little freaky and, in a strange way, kind of comforting. The tree that fell just right. Have you ever noticed how sometimes things just fit, like a puzzle piece snapping perfectly into place, or a key turning smoothly in a lock you weren't sure it would open? This idea of something happening exactly right, especially when it's totally unexpected, is what we're talking about with the tree that fell just right. It's not just a falling tree, of course. It's a way to describe those moments when the universe seems to line up for you, or for an event, in a way that feels almost impossible. Think about it this way. What are the chances a tree falls during a storm, but instead of crushing a house, it lands perfectly, blocking a path that needed to be closed off for repairs anyway? Or perhaps it falls across a river, creating a bridge where none existed before. For centuries, people have wrestled with these kinds of moments. Some have called it fate, believing that certain events are simply meant to be woven into the fabric of time. Others see it as pure, unbelievable luck, just the random spin of the cosmic dice. But here's the thing. No matter what you believe, these just right coincidences make us pause. They make us feel a certain wonder. Consider something smaller, something from your own day. Maybe you really needed a specific book for a project, and you couldn't find it anywhere. You search, you worry. Then, later, while grabbing a snack from your locker, it simply falls out from behind some old papers. Not a huge miracle, but it felt timely. It felt right. So, are these moments just random chance, or is there a quiet rhythm beneath all the noise of daily life, guiding things in ways we can't see? It's a question without a simple answer, but one worth holding on to. These strange, perfect timings remind us that the world is a place of endless possibility, where the most ordinary day can suddenly hold a whisper of the extraordinary, making us feel more connected to the mystery that surrounds us. A postcard from a stranger. Have you ever thought about someone you haven't seen in years, and then, out of nowhere, they pop up? Maybe they text you, or you see them walking down the street. It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Like a message sent from across time and space, just for you. This feeling is a bit like getting a postcard from a stranger. It's not truly from someone you don't know, but it feels like a surprise message from the universe itself. Just for you. Here's the thing. Sometimes, events happen together that seem deeply connected, even if there's no clear way one caused the other. The famous thinker Carl Jung called this synchronicity. He believed these weren't just random chances. Instead, he thought they were meaningful coincidences, like two different parts of a puzzle clicking into place at the same exact moment, without anyone pushing them. It's like the universe is whispering a secret, or maybe just showing us how everything is secretly linked. Think about this. You're working on a school project, maybe about a really unusual topic, like ancient Egyptian board games. You're looking for a specific piece of information, feeling stuck. Then, you're at the grocery store with your parents, and you overhear someone in the next aisle talking about ancient Egyptian board games. They mention the exact name of the game you're researching. It feels like a little wink from the world, doesn't it? Or maybe you're humming a tune in your head that you haven't heard in ages, and then you turn on the radio, and there it is, that exact song. These postcards remind us that our world might be more connected than we imagine. They don't have to be big, life-changing moments. Sometimes it's just a tiny, perfect fit that makes you pause and wonder. It makes you feel like maybe, just maybe, there's a gentle rhythm or a hidden pattern woven through the everyday fabric of our lives, waiting to be noticed. And that's a beautiful thought, isn't it? That sometimes the universe sends us little, quiet notes of wonder. The song that changed my path. Have you ever heard a song, maybe new to you, that made something shift inside? Not just a catchy beat, but a melody or lyric that landed perfectly, right when you needed it. It's a strange feeling, like a whisper, meant just for you. Sometimes, these quiet moments, like hearing a specific song, can unknowingly guide us onto a totally different path. It's not always a dramatic choice, but a subtle nudge. You might not even realize it until much later, looking back. Then, it feels like a bizarre coincidence, like that song was meant to play for you at that exact moment, just to set things in motion. People have long wondered how our lives unfold. Is it all random chance, or is there a hidden thread connecting everything? This idea is sometimes called the butterfly effect. It means a tiny, almost unnoticeable event can lead to big, surprising changes far away. Even the smallest moments can have huge results. Think about it. Maybe you're scrolling through a playlist, and a song pops up you've skipped before. But this time, you listen, that song might spark an idea, a place, a feeling, or a skill to learn. From that thought, you look something up, or message someone. This small action, sparked by a song, could lead to a new hobby, a new friend, or a passion that shapes your future. It feels accidental, but it all started with that melody. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many quiet songs are playing in our lives, subtly nudging us? It's a calm thought, knowing beauty and connection might be hidden in the simplest coincidences. We are all on paths shaped by whispers we barely noticed. The name on the headstone. Have you ever walked through an old place, maybe a quiet cemetery or a dusty history book, and seen a name that just stopped you? Not because it was famous, but because it felt impossibly familiar, like a whisper from another time. This can happen with certain coincidences, especially when it comes to names. Sometimes, the world seems to play a strange trick. You might be visiting a historical site, far from home, and you stumble upon an old headstone, and there, carved into the cold stone, is your exact name. Or maybe it's the name of your best friend, or your great-grandparent, from hundreds of years ago. It's not just a common name, it's something specific, something that makes you do a double take. Think about it. Our names connect us to generations. For centuries, families passed down names, or parents picked names popular at the time. So, it makes sense you might share a name with someone from the past. But it becomes a bizarre coincidence when you find that name in the most unexpected way. It's like destiny put it there for you. It's a quiet echo bouncing through time, saying, I was here. To imagine you're doing a school project on your town's history. You go to the local archives and pull out an old list of people who lived in your very house 100 years ago. And right there, among the faded ink, you see your own first and last name, not a relative, just you. Or maybe you're on vacation, exploring a small old cemetery, and you find a grave from the 1800s with your full name on it. It feels like a puzzle piece. These moments, when a name reaches out from the past, can feel really strange. They make you wonder about all the lives lived before yours. They remind us how we're all just small threads in a massive, ancient tapestry. It's a quiet wonder, making us feel a tiny, unexpected link to a world long gone. The car that stopped just in time. Have you ever had a moment where time seemed to slow down, or maybe even stretch out, just for you? Where something happened at the absolute perfect second, and it felt like a tiny, quiet miracle. Think about those incredible times when something important lines up, just when it's needed most, like a car braking right at the very edge of a deep drop, avoiding disaster by mere inches. We're exploring those precise moments, where events click into place. With surprising accuracy, it's more than just being lucky. These moments feel different. They feel like the world itself holds its breath, making sure everything aligns perfectly. It's a sense of delicate timing, almost like an invisible hand, gently guiding things into their spot. It makes you wonder if there's a secret rhythm to everything. For a long, long time, people have thought deeply about these kinds of events. Are they truly just random? Or is there something else at play, a quiet hum beneath the everyday noise that we sometimes catch? Ancient stories often spoke of fate, where certain events were simply meant to unfold. Later thinkers have called these meaningful coincidences, times when two things that shouldn't be connected suddenly link up, not by chance, but in a way that feels purposeful and profound. It's not about magic, but about an odd harmony that makes you pause. Imagine you're reaching for a glass, and just as it starts to slip from your hand, your friend, walking by, casually catches it. Not a second too soon, not a second too late, but right then. Or picture this, you've been feeling down, and then you suddenly hear a song on the radio that has the exact words you needed to hear, making you feel understood. These small moments make you stop and think about the connections in your life. These precise alignments can make you feel a little awestruck. They remind us that life isn't always chaotic. Sometimes, there are these amazing instances of perfect timing that make you wonder about the hidden patterns and quiet beauty of the world. They can leave you with a calm sense of wonder, showing how beautifully strange and deeply connected everything can sometimes be, even in the smallest moments. A familiar face in an old photo. Have you ever looked at a really old photograph, maybe from your grandparents' attic, and seen a face that made you pause? Not just a face that looked familiar, but one that felt almost impossible, like a person, standing there decades ago. It's a strange, quiet moment, isn't it? Like time itself is playing a trick on your eyes. Here's the thing, sometimes we come across pictures from the distant past where someone looks exactly like a person living today. We're talking about faces that could be twins, but separated by 100 years or more. It makes you wonder how that's even possible. Are these just incredible coincidences, or something deeper? Humans have always been fascinated by this idea of lookalikes or doubles. In old stories, sometimes it was a sign or a mysterious echo of the past. It's like our world has these hidden patterns, moments where history seems to gently repeat itself, just in a new face. Think about it like this. You might watch a movie or see a famous person on a screen, and suddenly you do a double take, because they look exactly like your cousin, or maybe even like you, and that's usually just a random resemblance. But imagine finding an old, faded picture from the 1920s, and the person staring back has your exact same eyes, your exact smile. It's not just genetics, because these aren't always direct family. It's almost like a whisper from another time, a hint that perhaps we are all more connected, more deeply woven into the fabric of history than we can truly grasp. It's a beautiful, puzzling mystery that makes you feel both small and completely connected to everything. The wallet found miles away. Have you ever lost something important, something that felt like a piece of you? Like your wallet. We talk about luck, good and bad, but what do you call it when something truly impossible happens? Imagine dropping your wallet on a trip, miles from home. Then, a month later, it's found by someone vacationing in that exact spot, and they happen to know a friend of a friend who knows you. It feels less like luck and more like the universe decided to play a very kind, strange trick. Throughout history, people have looked at these moments. They've wondered if there's a hidden pattern to life, a quiet hum beneath the everyday noise. Ancient thinkers might have called it fate. Modern thinkers have looked at these deep connections to it's not about one thing directly causing another. Instead, it's about two events happening at the same time, in a way that feels incredibly meaningful, even when there's no clear logical reason. Think about it like this. You're on a beach, thinking about a rare seashell you saw in a book. You've never found one. Then, a wave rolls in, leaving that exact shell right at your feet. Your thought didn't make the shell appear, but it's the moment your thought and the shell's appearance perfectly align, making you pause and wonder. So, when a wallet travels across states to find its owner, it stretches what we understand. These aren't just flukes. They're like soft whispers from the world, hinting that maybe life is woven with more mystery and connection than we often see. They remind us to stay curious, to notice the patterns, and to feel the quiet wonder of how strangely things can connect. The story I heard, then lived. Have you ever felt like life was telling you a secret, a story you already knew, even if you couldn't quite remember hearing it? It's a strange feeling, like you're walking into a moment that somehow feels familiar, a scene you've watched before. These are the times when what happens around you seems to echo a dream, or a half-forgotten tale someone once told you. For a long, long time, people have wondered about these moments. They'd call it fate or destiny, like threads woven together before you even step onto the path. Old thinkers, even in ancient times, looked at the stars and the patterns in nature, wondering if everything was connected in a way we couldn't quite grasp. They thought maybe our lives were part of a bigger story, one that unfolded with a hidden logic. Here's the thing, it's not always about grand, dramatic events. Sometimes it's small, quiet. Imagine you hear a weird story about someone finding a specific old coin stuck in a tree branch. You think, that's wild. Then, weeks later, you're out on a walk, and there it is, that exact kind of coin, wedged in a tree, glinting in the sun. It's like the universe decided to show you that story, just for you to live it. These moments make you pause. They make you feel a little shiver, not of fear, but of wonder. They suggest that maybe there's a quiet rhythm to things, a silent song playing just beneath the noise of daily life. And sometimes, you find yourself dancing to a beat you thought only existed in a faraway tale. It makes you feel deeply connected, reminded that the world is full of these soft, amazing whispers, inviting you to pay closer attention. The phone that rang no one. Have you ever had that strange feeling? The one where you think of someone you haven't spoken to in ages, and then, moments later, your phone buzzes, and it's a text from them. It's like the world just read your mind. But what about when something even stranger happens, when a call seems to come from nowhere, with no clear sender, yet it feels deeply meaningful? This is a bit like the phone that rang no one. It's about those powerful moments when two things that seem completely unrelated happen at the same time, and they just fit. They aren't connected by cause and effect. It's not that one thing made the other happen. Instead, it feels like they were meant to be together, like a secret message from the universe. The famous Swiss thinker, Carl Jung, gave this idea a name, synchronicity. He spent a lot of time thinking about these moments. He believed they weren't just random luck. He thought they might show us how everything in the world, even our thoughts and feelings, is actually connected in ways we don't always understand. It's like there's a hidden pattern, a deeper order to things. Think about it like this. You're walking home, feeling a bit lost or worried about something important, and then you look down, and right there on the sidewalk is a single feather or a coin from a year that means something special to you. It's just a feather or a coin, but in that moment, it feels like a comforting sign, a tiny whisper saying, everything will be okay. It didn't cause your worry to disappear, but its appearance felt perfectly timed, a gentle nudge from something larger. These moments are like quiet ripples in our everyday lives. They don't give us direct answers, but they make us pause. They make us wonder if there's more to life than just what we can see and touch. Maybe these unexpected connections remind us that the world is a little more mysterious, a little more wondrous than we often realize. They leave us with a feeling of gentle awe, a soft sense that perhaps we are all part of something much bigger and more intricately woven than we imagine. The picture that moved. Have you ever looked at a picture, maybe a drawing you made, or an old photograph, and felt like it wasn't just paper and ink, like it held a whisper of something more? Sometimes, it feels like these images aren't just memories. They can feel almost like small predictions, that this idea of a picture that moved isn't about the image literally wiggling on the wall. It's about how sometimes an image, a thought, or even a dream seems to connect to something real that happens later. It's like the picture isn't just showing you a moment. It's part of a larger, unseen dance. For a very long time, people have wondered about this. Ancient cultures, for example, often believed that drawing something or making a statue could help make that thing real in the world. It was a way of focusing energy. They thought images had a kind of quiet power, a link to the future or to faraway events. Here's the thing. Imagine you're sitting in class, doodling in your notebook. You decide to draw a really specific, unusual type of flower you just read about, one you've never seen in real life. You spend time on every petal. Later that day, you're walking home, and there it is. It's growing wild by the side of the road, exactly as you drew it. That's a moment when the picture feels like it moved, not in space, but in time. It connects your inner world to the outer one. It's more than just coincidence. It feels like a meaningful echo. So, when a picture seems to move in this way, what does it tell us? Maybe it shows how our minds aren't as separate from the world as we sometimes think. Perhaps our quietest imaginings are part of a bigger tapestry, woven into the very fabric of reality. It makes you wonder about the gentle, hidden threads that connect everything, doesn't it? It suggests there's a quiet magic in simply paying attention to the echoes between our inner pictures and the world around us. A cloud shaped like my pet. Have you ever looked up at the sky and seen a cloud that looked like something familiar? Maybe it was a dog, or a cat, or even a giant ice cream cone. It feels special, doesn't it? Like the cloud was just for you. This cool thing our brains do has a name: pareidolia. It's when we see patterns or faces in things that are actually just random shapes. Think about it. Our brains are built to find connections, to make sense of the world. So, when we see swirling clouds, our brain quickly tries to match them to something it knows. This isn't a new idea. For thousands of years, people saw shapes in the stars, naming constellations after heroes or animals. They even saw faces in mountains or on the moon, believing they were gods watching over them. It's a very human thing to do, to look for meaning, even where there might not be any on purpose. It's like when you see a crumb on your desk that looks like a tiny person, or a shadow that seems like a monster in the dark. Your brain takes small bits of information and tries to make a whole picture. This helps us understand things faster, but sometimes it makes us see things that aren't really there. The cloud isn't actually your pet, it's just water vapor, but your mind, in that moment, makes it so. When you see that cloud, it's not really a coincidence. It's your own mind reaching out, making a connection. It's a quiet way our thoughts paint the world around us. It reminds us that sometimes the magic isn't in what's out there, but in the way we see it. It's a gentle reminder of how amazing our minds are, making the random beautiful and personal, one cloud at a time. The clock that stopped for a reason. Have you ever noticed how time sometimes feels like it holds secrets? Like a clock, quietly ticking, suddenly stops at a moment that feels important. It's a strange thought, isn't it? The idea that maybe, just maybe, some things aren't random. But sometimes, a clock might stop for a reason. Not because its battery died, or its gears broke, but because something big, something deeply meaningful, was happening right then. Think about it like this. There's a famous idea from a thinker named Carl Jung. He talked about something called synchronicity. It's not about cause and effect, like pushing a domino and another falls. It's about two things happening at the same time, with no clear connection, but they feel connected. They feel like they belong together, like the universe is winking at you. Here's an example. Imagine your grandmother, miles away, is taken to the hospital. And at that exact moment, the old grandfather clock in your hallway, which has ticked perfectly for years, suddenly grinds to a halt. The hands freeze. You don't know about your grandmother yet, but later, when you find out, that frozen clock suddenly makes you shiver. It's like the clock knew. It's like it marked the moment. These aren't just silly superstitions. They're moments that make us pause and wonder. They whisper to us about a world richer than we often see. A world where perhaps there are hidden patterns, invisible threads connecting events, feelings, and even time itself. It makes you think, what if the universe is always speaking to us, in quiet, strange ways? What if these bizarre coincidences are just gentle nudges, reminding us there's more to life than what we can always explain? The day the world paused, have you ever had a moment where it felt like the entire world just held its breath? Not literally, of course, but a feeling, a collective stillness that settles over everything. It's a strange thing, this idea of the world pausing. Time keeps ticking, but for a shared moment, our human experience seems to slow down, to focus, to become intensely aware. This isn't about clocks stopping or magic spells. It's about how we, as people, sometimes experience the flow of time together. Think of it like a sudden silence falling over a loud room. One moment, everyone is talking. The next, a quiet hush. This shared quiet, this pause, can be just as powerful as the loudest sound. Throughout history, people have marked time not just by years, but by these deep, collective pauses. Ancient cultures told stories about huge events that changed everything. A comet streaking across the sky, a great flood, or a new discovery that reshaped how everyone saw the world. These were moments that didn't just happen to one person, but with everyone. Here's an example. Imagine a total solar eclipse. As the moon slowly covers the sun, a hush falls. Birds might stop singing. the light changes, becoming eerie and strange. For those few minutes, millions of people, across cities and fields, look up at the same sight. They share the same wonder, the same tiny feeling of awe. That shared gasp, that shared quiet, is the world pausing. It's not about what happens to time, but what happens in our shared time. Our minds, our emotions, our attention, all sync up for just a bit. This can help you see how we are all connected, how we often react to big moments in similar ways, even if we are far apart. So, these bizarre coincidences we talk about, they are sometimes like those moments. They make us pause, too, and wonder about the threads that connect us all. They remind us that even in a busy world, there are quiet, shared echoes that bind our human journey together. The forgotten coin story. Have you ever lost something simple, like a single coin, then found it weeks or even months later in the most unexpected place? That quick moment of surprise, when something you thought was gone just reappears. It's just a piece of metal, right? A humble dime or a shiny quarter, but suddenly, it feels like more. It feels like it carries a secret story, a quiet journey through time. It's like this little coin has been on its own adventure, waiting for just the perfect, unexpected moment to show up again in your life. Humans have always felt this pull towards meaning. For thousands of years, people have looked at these small, strange reappearances and wondered. They thought maybe everything, even a tiny, forgotten coin, had its own path, a purpose in the big picture of things. It's a feeling that tiny details aren't just random. They're part of a larger, unseen design, like a quiet rhythm that plays through our lives, connecting events in ways we don't always understand. Here's the thing. Imagine you're cleaning out an old backpack, one you haven't used since last summer. Deep in a tiny zipper pocket, your fingers brush against something hard. It's a shiny dollar coin, forgotten for months. You might just put it aside. But then, later that same day, you're walking home, feeling a bit down, and you see a small, independent coffee shop with a sign, hot chocolate, $1. You check your pockets, knowing you're short, and suddenly, you remember that forgotten coin. It wasn't just $1, it was the exact key to that warm, comforting moment you needed. It feels like that coin wasn't just lost, it was waiting, not just luck, but something almost like a gentle nudge from the universe, a quiet conversation across time. These small finds make us pause. They whisper that nothing truly disappears forever, that even the smallest things have a quiet, hidden journey. They connect moments and people in ways we can't always see or explain. This thought makes the world feel a little more connected, a little more purposeful. It reminds us that even a simple, forgotten coin can hold a touch of the extraordinary, weaving itself into the beautiful, strange pattern of our lives. A map that showed my future. Have you ever looked at an old drawing you made, or perhaps a dream you once had, and later felt a shiver because it seemed to predict something that actually happened? It's a strange feeling, like a whisper from tomorrow finding its way into today. What if, deep down, our minds sometimes sketch out a tiny piece of the path ahead, even if we don't understand it at the time? This idea of something in our present somehow mirroring a future event has quietly fascinated people for ages. Ancient thinkers and storytellers often wondered if our lives were like stories already written, with clues hidden along the way. It's not about knowing every step, but more about those soft echoes, those unexpected moments when something feels incredibly familiar, as if you've seen it before. Here's the thing. Imagine a quiet afternoon when you were younger. Maybe you were just doodling in a notebook, creating a fantastical map of an imaginary place. You drew winding rivers, a tiny village by a forgotten hill, a crooked old tree, a hidden path leading to nowhere special. It was just a drawing, a moment of daydreaming. Years pass, you're on a trip, maybe exploring a new town or a nature trail. And then, there it is, a bend in a river, a cluster of houses on a distant hill, a tree with a strangely familiar shape, a path that just feels like the one from your map. Not perfectly, maybe, but enough to make your heart skip, enough to make you wonder if your childhood imagination had, in a strange way, somehow seen a sliver of your future. It's not about magic making things happen. Instead, it's a gentle puzzle that invites us to think about how our minds work, and how life itself can hold these beautiful, unexpected connections. These coincidences make us pause and feel a deeper sense of wonder about the world. They remind us that there's a quiet mystery woven into the fabric of time. making us feel connected to something larger than ourselves, in ways we might never fully understand. The wind that whispered a name. Have you ever felt the world sending you a message, a moment too perfect to be random? It's like the universe paused, leaned in close, and whispered something only for your heart. This feeling is what we call the wind that whispered a name, a poetic way to describe coincidences that feel deeply personal, almost magical. Imagine thinking of a song you haven't heard in years, one that reminds you of someone special. Then, moments later, you walk into a store, and that exact song starts playing. It's not just luck. It feels like the air itself carried your thought and brought it back. For centuries, people have wondered about these moments. Ancient thinkers, like the Greeks, believed everything in the world was connected. They called this sympathy, a hidden bond where events could mirror each other, creating harmony. Think about a flock of birds moving as one, like a vast cloud, shifting perfectly in the sky. No single bird leads, yet they all know what to do. Our own thoughts and the world around us can feel like that. Maybe you're worried about a test, then open a book to a random page, and a quote perfectly calms your fears. It's not that the book knew your stress, it's more a subtle connection, a tiny ripple linking your inner feelings with something outside yourself. So when the wind seems to whisper a name, or that song plays at just the right moment, it reminds us that life holds more than just random chance. It's a quiet invitation to notice the hidden threads, the gentle rhythms that shape our days. These moments show us that life, in its mystery, sometimes offers surprising gifts. They help us feel a little more connected, a little less alone. The Lost Letters Journey Home. Have you ever had something lost, truly lost, only for it to somehow, against all odds, find its way back to you? It's a strange feeling, like the universe itself is gently nudging things back into place. This feeling often comes with what we call a coincidence. Not just any coincidence, but one that feels deeply meaningful. For a very long time, people have thought about these moments. They've asked if there's a secret plan, a hidden thread connecting everything. Ancient thinkers would sometimes call it fate or destiny, wondering if our lives followed a path already drawn. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be some grand mystical force. It can be a quiet whisper of connection. Think about a letter. Maybe it was sent years ago, meant for someone special, but somehow it got lost. Perhaps it was misaddressed, or tucked away and forgotten in an old attic. You might think it's gone forever, but then, decades later, someone finds it. Maybe a new owner of the house, or a relative clearing out old things. And somehow, through a series of chance events, a name recognized, an address remembered, that lost letter finally reaches the person it was meant for, or their family. When something like that happens, it's more than just luck. It makes you pause. It makes you wonder about the journey of everything, about how paths cross, sometimes in ways we can't see until much later. It suggests that even the smallest things, the most forgotten letters, might have an important journey to complete. It's a quiet reminder that even when things seem chaotic, there might be a subtle, beautiful order guiding them home. The shadow that followed me. Have you ever felt like certain things just keep happening, like the world is mirroring your thoughts? This feeling, where events seem to line up with your inner world, is something people have wondered about for ages. It's not just luck, it's when things happen that aren't connected by cause and effect, but they hold a deep, personal meaning for you. It's like a quiet shadow, one that subtly reflects what's going on inside your head. A famous thinker named Carl Jung called this idea synchronicity. He believed these weren't just accidents. He thought they were meaningful coincidences, moments where the invisible threads of our minds and the actual events in the world briefly touch. It's as if your thoughts or feelings suddenly appear in the real world, right in front of you. Here's an example. Imagine you've been thinking a lot about starting a new art project, perhaps drawing a fantastical creature you haven't seen in a while. You're sketching ideas. Then, the very next day, a friend shows you a new game with that exact creature on its cover, or a random TV show you flip to features it prominently. It feels like the world is responding to your inner focus. It's not just that you noticed it more. It feels like the thing appeared because you were thinking about it. These moments, when the outer world quietly reflects our inner one, can make us pause and wonder. They might not have a clear scientific explanation, but they give us a sense that there's more to reality than we usually see. It's a gentle reminder that sometimes the world might just be listening, whispering back to us in strange, beautiful echoes. It leaves you feeling connected, a quiet awe at the mystery of it all. A song I knew but hadn't heard. Have you ever heard a new song for the very first time, but it felt like you'd known it forever? Not like you forgot it, but the melody and words just settled inside you. It's like finding an echo of something, already part of your quiet self. This isn't about remembering something you misplaced. Here's the thing, it's about a deep sense of recognition. It's when a new idea or pattern feels truly familiar. It's a truth that seems to ring clear, not because someone taught it, but because it feels like you've always somehow known it in your bones. Thinkers from long ago, like the Greek philosopher Plato, talked about this. He wondered if we carry certain basic ideas or memories from before we were born. He called this anamnesis. It means remembering. He thought it meant we might have access to a larger, shared knowledge. Or maybe our souls hold basic ways of understanding the world. So, when we learn something new, it can feel less like learning and more like uncovering a pattern that was always there, waiting. Imagine you're listening to a piece of music. Maybe it's an old folk tune you've never heard, but the chords and rhythm make perfect sense. It feels like the notes paint a picture you've always held in your mind, but never saw clearly. Or consider a tough science concept. You struggle, and then suddenly, it just clicks. It feels less like you figured it out, and more like you saw the solution that was hidden, waiting. This feeling, this song I knew but hadn't heard, makes us wonder about the deeper connections in the world. Maybe our minds are designed to recognize patterns, and that's why it matters. It's a quiet feeling that there's more to knowing than just what we read or hear. It suggests a harmony, a hidden order that we might sense with our hearts, even before our minds fully grasp it. It makes you think we are all tiny parts of a bigger, beautiful song. The man who appeared twice. Have you ever seen a face in a crowd, just for a second, and felt a strange pull, like you know them, but you don't? This story isn't about ghosts. It's about seeing the same person, twice, in two completely different times and places, without any clear connection. It's a quiet mystery. I imagine Sir Geoffrey Hudson, who lived hundreds of years ago. People called him the smallest man in England, and he was quite famous. But this story isn't about his size. It's about a strange meeting. Someone saw him, recognized him, and then much later, saw him again. Not just a look-alike, but him. It was as if fate had woven two separate threads, letting one life brush against another, not once, but twice. Old stories sometimes talk about doubles, or people who show up unexpectedly, like echoes. It made people think about destiny, or if life followed unseen patterns. This isn't about magic, but about moments where the world feels surprisingly small. Think about it. You might be in a busy mall, and you spot someone who looks exactly like your old kindergarten teacher. Then, a year later, on a family vacation, far away, you see that exact same person again, working at a small cafe. What are the chances? It's not planned. It just is. These kinds of moments, like the man who appeared twice, make us pause. They remind us how vast, and yet how strangely small our world can be. They hint at connections we might never fully understand, threads woven through time and space. And sometimes, in those quiet moments, we feel a sense of wonder, a soft understanding, that life holds more surprises than we can ever imagine. It's a reminder of the beautiful strangeness around us. The key to a house I didn't own. Have you ever found something small, something ordinary, but it felt like a secret message just for you? Like a key to a house you'd never seen, yet somehow felt familiar. That's the feeling we're talking about. Here, it's when two things happen at the exact same time. Things that have no real connection, but together, they make you stop and wonder. They whisper, what if there's more to this? Think about it. You're walking down the street, maybe thinking about a really specific, old-fashioned house you saw in a picture book once. And then, there it is, lying right on the sidewalk, a heavy, ornate iron key. It looks ancient, like something from that very house. There's no logical reason for it to be there, and it's certainly not your key. But for a moment, it feels like it is. It feels deeply, strangely connected to your thought. For a long time, people have tried to understand these moments. Are they just random chance, or is there something else at play? It's like when you're drawing a picture, and your friend, who you haven't talked to, suddenly picks up the exact same color pencil you just did. It's not cause and effect. Your action didn't make them do it, but it's a parallel. These are like patterns our minds spot, like secret threads weaving through life that we only sometimes catch. They don't prove anything, not really, but they hint at a deeper, less obvious order to things. It's a quiet wonder. These moments, they remind us that the world is vast and full of mysteries. They make us pause, look up, and feel a little more connected to the unseen dance of life. Maybe that old key isn't a map to a real house, but it's a tiny reminder that sometimes the universe offers us a small, personal whisper, just for us. A hint that perhaps we are more deeply woven into the fabric of everything than we usually think. The dream that warned me. Have you ever woken up from a dream, and then, later that day, something from your dream actually happened? It's a strange, almost eerie feeling, like your mind saw a tiny glimpse of the future. We're not talking about magic or spooky fortune-telling here. Instead, it's about those weird moments when our sleeping thoughts seem to connect with real life in ways we can't quite explain. It truly leaves you wondering. For thousands of years, people across different cultures have believed dreams could carry important messages. Ancient Egyptians carefully wrote down their dreams, thinking gods or spirits spoke to them in the night. Even great thinkers in ancient Greece and Rome wondered if dreams held clues about what was to come. These weren't always about predicting big disasters. Sometimes, it was seen as a quiet whisper from somewhere deep inside us, a way for our inner selves to process things and hint at possibilities. Here's the thing. Our brains are always trying to make sense of the world, even when we're asleep. They connect tiny bits of information we might not even notice during our waking hours. Think about this. Imagine you have a big history test tomorrow, and you're a little nervous. You might dream you forgot to study a specific battle. And then, the next day, a question about that exact battle appears on the test. Did your dream warn you, or did your brain, during sleep, just process a bunch of worries and knowledge you already had, highlighting a potential blind spot? Maybe it's like your subconscious mind acting as a clever detective, piecing together clues you consciously missed. But then there are those moments when these dream warnings feel much more personal and unsettling. It's when you dream of a specific place, a certain color, or a very distinct feeling, and then stumble upon it in real life, completely by chance, soon after. These aren't just small worries playing out. It makes you wonder how deep our minds truly reach. Are we tapping into something bigger than ourselves? Or are these simply remarkable coincidences, made powerful by our own hopes and fears, making us look for patterns where there are none? It's a quiet mystery, one that makes us pause and think about the hidden paths our minds might travel when we close our eyes at night, exploring connections we didn't know existed. A book that opened to the right page. Have you ever felt a deep question inside you, a quiet worry, or a search for just the right idea? And then, something in the world seems to offer an answer. It's a strange, beautiful feeling, like the universe is paying attention. This is the heart of a book that opened to the right page. It's about those moments. You pick up any volume, flip it open, and the words, staring back, are exactly what your heart needed to hear, or your mind needed to understand. At that moment, it feels more than random chance. It feels guided. For centuries, humans have pondered these flashes of meaning. Was it fate? Destiny? Ancient cultures might have seen it as a whisper from a spirit. Later, thinkers explored serendipity, finding something good by accident, or synchronicity, where two unrelated events happen in a meaningful way. It's as if your inner thoughts, for a moment, find a mirror in the outer world. Imagine you're struggling with a tough decision about your future, feeling lost. You're browsing in a bookstore. A random book falls, you pick it up, open it, and your eyes land on a paragraph describing your fear, then offering a path forward. It's not a fortune cookie. It's a deep, specific connection. The words feel like they were waiting just for you. These quiet coincidences invite us to pause and wonder. They hint at a subtle connection in life, a gentle weave where even random acts can feel meaningful. It's a reminder that sometimes, when we are most open, the world might just speak to us in unexpected ways. It's a soft nudge from the unseen, a quiet moment of perfect timing that leaves us with a sense of wonder. The stranger who looked like family. Have you ever paused, mid-step, your breath catching in your throat, because you saw them? Not them, but someone who looked so incredibly, unbelievably, like a family member, your uncle, your older sister, your mum, that your heart actually skipped a beat. For that flicker of a second, your brain screamed, "It's them." You might have even started to smile, ready to call out, but then, as they turned or walked past, you saw it wasn't them at all. Just a stranger, someone you'd never met. It's a strange feeling, isn't it? That sudden warmth of recognition, followed by the cool splash of realization. It leaves you feeling a little disoriented, maybe even a little spooked. How can someone who shares no blood with you, who lives a completely different life, mirror the face of someone you know so deeply? For a long time, people have wondered about these unasked-for reflections. In old stories, these lookalikes were sometimes called doubles, or even spirit twins. It was a mystery, making people wonder if there was some unseen connection, some thread weaving through humanity that we couldn't quite grasp. We are all made from the same basic blueprint, after all. Think of it like a giant set of building blocks, with billions of people, and so many ways those blocks can be arranged for eyes, noses, and smiles. It's not just possible, but actually quite likely, that some combinations will appear more than once, like finding two very similar clouds in a vast sky. This moment, seeing a familiar face in an unknown crowd, is more than just a coincidence. It's a gentle whisper. It reminds us that despite our endless differences, we share a common heritage, a shared human design. It's a quiet, reflective moment that makes you pause and truly wonder about the beautiful, complex patterns woven into the tapestry of human existence. It's a reminder that even strangers can carry a piece of the familiar, connecting us in unexpected, profound ways. The light that guided me. Have you ever felt a gentle nudge, like something unseen was trying to tell you something? It's that moment when something happens that seems random, but it feels deeply right, like a quiet hum beneath the everyday noise, pointing you in a direction you didn't even know you needed. This feeling, this sense of being guided, has fascinated people for centuries. Long ago, wise thinkers wondered about these strange connections. They didn't just see chance. They saw patterns, almost like a secret language. A famous Swiss thinker, Carl Jung, spent a lot of time thinking about these meaningful coincidences. He wasn't talking about magic or fortune-telling. Instead, he suggested that sometimes unrelated events click together, forming a pattern that holds personal meaning. It's like the universe has a rhythm, and occasionally, we feel ourselves perfectly in tune with it. Think of it this way. Maybe you're struggling with a project at school, feeling stuck and a little lost. You decide to take a walk, just to clear your head. As you pass a small park, you overhear two strangers talking about something totally random, maybe about a bird's nest or a unique type of tree, and suddenly, a tiny piece of their conversation sparks an idea in your mind, an unexpected solution to your project. It wasn't the birds or the tree that solved your problem, but the timing, the way those words floated into your path exactly when you needed them. It felt like a small, personal whisper, just for you. These moments aren't about grand plans or forces pulling strings, but quiet invitations instead. They encourage us to pay closer attention to the subtle currents running through our lives. They remind us that even in the biggest, busiest world, there are delicate, interwoven threads connecting everything. And sometimes, those threads gently glow, showing us a way forward, or simply reminding us of the quiet wonder of being truly present. A pattern in the chaos. Have you ever looked up at the night sky and seen shapes in the stars? Maybe a dipper, or a hunter, or spotted a face in a cloud, or even on burnt toast. Here's the thing. Our brains are always trying to make sense of the world. They look for connections, for order, even when things seem completely random. For a long time, people have wondered about this. Is there a hidden meaning in the way things line up? Ancient thinkers often believed everything was connected, like a giant cosmic dance. They looked for signs in nature, in the movement of planets, hoping to find meaning. Our minds don't like messy, disconnected bits of information. They prefer stories, patterns, things that fit together neatly. This is how we learn and predict. What's next? Think about it like this. Your brain is a super smart detective, always collecting clues. Sometimes it finds real clues, but other times it's so good at finding them, it sees patterns where none truly exist, or at least, none with deep meaning. It's like when you hear a song in your head, then suddenly, it comes on the radio. It feels like magic, a strange coincidence. But maybe your mind was primed, or it was just a random happenstance your brain decided to highlight. So when we see coincidences, those weird moments where things perfectly align, part of us feels a deep pull. Is it fate? Is it a message? Or is it just our amazing brains, so determined to find order in everyday chaos, that they sometimes create patterns where none truly exist? It makes us wonder about the quiet workings of our own minds, always seeking harmony, always reaching for understanding, even in surprising places. The name that kept appearing. Have you ever learned a new name? Maybe the name of someone you just met, and then suddenly that name seems to follow you everywhere. It's a strange feeling, like the universe has decided to highlight it just for you. You might hear it on TV, read it in a book, or someone might mention it casually in conversation. It's not that the name wasn't around before. Here's the thing, it's more about how our minds work. Our brains become especially sensitive to that sound, that particular pattern of letters. A long time ago, a thoughtful person named Carl Jung spent a lot of time thinking about these kinds of moments. He called them synchronicity. This isn't about cause and effect, like one thing directly making another happen. Instead, he believed it was about two or more events happening at the same time that feel deeply connected and meaningful to us. Even without a clear logical link, it's more about the feeling, the sense of a hidden pattern. Think about it like this. You might hear a new song on the radio, one you really love, and then, for the next few days, it feels like that song is playing on every speaker you walk past, or a friend hums it in the hallway. Was the song suddenly more popular? Probably not. It's just that your mind, once it's noticed that song, starts picking it out of the background noise more easily. Your ears are tuned to it now. So, when a name keeps appearing, is it just our brains tuning in, like a radio finding a specific station? Or is there something else happening? A whisper from the universe, a hint of hidden patterns? These moments are curious. They make us wonder about the threads that connect our experiences. They might not always have a grand answer, but they certainly invite us to pause, to look closer, and to feel the quiet wonder of how life unfolds around us. Sometimes, in the most unexpected and seemingly meaningful ways. The story that lived on. Have you ever noticed how some stories, even simple ones, just stick with you? They whisper in your mind long after you hear them, like a quiet, persistent song. These strange, unexpected moments, the ones that feel too perfect, are more than just facts. They become tales we tell over and over. They live on because we give them life through our wonder, our retelling. It's like these moments have a spirit of their own, waiting to be shared. For centuries, people have done this. We've always looked at the world, seen patterns, and woven them into stories. Sometimes, it was about gods or destiny. Other times, just the magic of everyday life. Here's the thing, we're wired to find meaning, to connect dots, even when they seem far apart. It's how we make sense of a world that often feels chaotic. A surprising event becomes a small thread in a bigger story we're always trying to understand. Think about humming a song, and then it plays on the radio. Or thinking about an old friend, and your phone buzzes with a text from them. These moments feel special, right? You tell someone about it, maybe adding a little extra wonder to your voice, and that's how it works. That tiny, surprising twist becomes the time I thought a friend's name and they texted me. It becomes your story, your small personal legend. It gains power not just because it happened, but because you remembered it and shared it. These stories aren't just about chance. They're about how we choose to see the world. They remind us that even in this huge, complex universe, there are tiny, perfect moments. And when we hold on to them, when we share them, they can make us feel a little more connected, a little less alone, and a lot more curious about the hidden music of life. The door that opened unexpectedly. Have you ever had a moment when something totally unexpected happened, and it changed everything? Not a huge, loud change, but a quiet shift. Like a hidden door suddenly swinging open, revealing how a small, random event can lead to something big and important. It feels less like luck and more like a gentle push from the universe itself. For centuries, people have wondered about these moments. Ancient thinkers and everyday folks have always looked at the world and asked, is this all random, or is there something more connecting things? They'd watch a bird fly by, just as they were thinking about a long-lost friend, and then that friend would call. It made them wonder if our lives aren't just a straight line, but a beautiful, tangled map, with secret pathways we don't know exist until they appear. Here's the thing, sometimes, the door that opens isn't obvious. Think about a time you might have been feeling a little lost, maybe not sure what to do next with a project or a problem. You might just be doodling, not really thinking. Then, without trying, a shape you draw suddenly sparks an idea in your mind, or maybe you hear a song playing somewhere, and the words perfectly describe what you're feeling or thinking, giving you a new way to look at things. That song wasn't meant for you, but in that moment, it felt like it was. Like a small, unexpected door opened in your mind, showing you a path forward you hadn't seen. So, what does this tell us? Maybe it's a quiet reminder to stay open, to notice the little nudges, to appreciate the unexpected. Sometimes, the most important paths in our lives aren't planned, but simply revealed by those quiet, surprising moments, like a door appearing, where there was once just a wall. It's a beautiful thought, isn't it? That even in our busy days, there are gentle invitations to wonder, just waiting for us to see them. A call from a long-lost number. Have you ever had a moment that just felt meant to be? Not like you made it happen, but like the world itself whispered a secret just for you. Imagine this: you're humming an old song you haven't heard in years, and then, without warning, it starts playing on the radio. Or you're thinking about a friend you haven't spoken to since elementary school, and suddenly, your phone buzzes. It's their name, popping up on your screen like magic. A call from a long-lost number, out of the blue. This feeling, when things line up in such a surprising way, is what we call a meaningful coincidence. It's not just luck. It's when different events, which seem totally unrelated, somehow connect with a strange, deep sense of purpose. For centuries, people have wondered about these moments. Ancient thinkers might have seen it as fate, like everything was already mapped out by the stars. Much later, a famous thinker named Carl Jung called it synchronicity. He believed it was when two or more things happen at the same time, not because one caused the other, but because they share a hidden meaning. It's like the universe is echoing something important, even if we don't understand why. Here's what I found. Think about a time you were feeling a bit down, maybe even lonely, and then, at that very moment, someone calls who always knows how to make you smile. It could be your grandma, a cousin, or that old friend. They didn't know you were sad. You didn't expect their call, but it arrived, perfectly timed, like a small, comforting gift. It just happened, and that's why it matters. These little whispers from the world make us pause. They invite us to think about how connected everything might truly be, even the parts we can't see. Are these moments just chance? Or are they gentle nudges, reminding us there's more to life than what meets the eye? It leaves you feeling a bit more reflective, a bit more open to the quiet wonders hidden in our everyday. The face from a dream. Have you ever woken up from a dream, and a face just stays with you? Not someone you know, not a family member or a friend. It's a complete stranger. But their eyes, their smile, their expression, it's so clear, so real. It feels like you've known them forever. It's like your mind just painted a portrait of someone you've never met in your waking life. This feeling, this encounter with an unknown face in the quiet space of your dreams, is truly strange. For a long time, people have wondered about dreams. Ancient thinkers sometimes believed dreams were messages, or glimpses into other worlds. Maybe these faces are just our brains remixing bits and pieces of people we've seen in passing, without even noticing. Think about all the faces you walk past every day on the street, in the hall, at the store. Your mind quietly takes in so much, but then, here's the thing. Sometimes, just sometimes, people report seeing that very dream face later, in real life. Imagine this. You dream of a very specific person. They have unique hair, a certain kind of nose, and a quiet smile. The dream feels so real it stays with you for days. Then, a few weeks later, you're at the library, reaching for a book, and you glance up, and there they are, the exact face from your dream. The same eyes, the same quiet smile. It stops you cold. What does this mean? Is it just a huge coincidence, a trick of memory or chance? Or is there something deeper at play? Something about how our minds connect with the world, or even with each other, in ways we don't fully understand. Perhaps our dreams are sometimes whispers from a hidden part of our awareness, showing us glimpses of what's to come, or just reminding us how mysterious and connected life can be. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? The cloud that mirrored my thoughts. Have you ever looked at the sky, feeling a certain way, and then a cloud forms that perfectly seems to capture that feeling? Maybe you're feeling a bit lost, and a cloud drifts by shaped like a question mark. Or maybe you're really happy, and a fluffy, bright cloud looks just like a smile. It's not just a cloud, is it? It feels like the world is somehow winking back at you, like it knows exactly what's going on inside your head. This idea, where something outside perfectly matches something deep inside you, has a special name. A thinker named Carl Jung, from a long time ago, called it synchronicity. Here's the thing. It's not about cause and effect. It's not like your thoughts made the cloud form. Instead, it's about two different things happening at the exact same time, and they just feel connected in a way that makes sense, even if there's no clear reason why. It's like the universe is putting on a show just for you, speaking a secret language. Think about it like this. You're walking home feeling a bit down about a problem you can't solve. You look down, and there, right at your feet, is a small, smooth stone, shaped perfectly like a heart. It wasn't there before, or maybe you just didn't notice it. But in that moment, it feels like a little message. It's not magic, but it feels meaningful. It's a moment where the world outside seems to hum with your own inner tune. These moments make us pause. They make us wonder if there's a deeper rhythm to life, a hidden pattern we sometimes glimpse. They remind us that even when things feel random, there can be beauty in the surprising ways our inner world connects with the vast, wide world outside. It's a gentle whisper from the universe, saying, you are part of something much bigger, and sometimes, it sees you. The path I didn't plan to take. Have you ever stopped to think about the quiet turns in your life? The moments that felt like accidents, but then led you somewhere important. Sometimes, a path appears right in front of us, not because we planned it, but almost as if it was waiting. This is one of those deep, curious ideas we call a meaningful coincidence. It's not just two random things happening at the same time. It's when events link up in a way that feels almost too perfect to be by chance. They seem to tell a story or guide you, even when you didn't ask for guidance. For a long time, thinkers have wondered about these moments. One person, a wise man named Carl Jung, called this idea synchronicity. He felt these moments were more than just luck. He thought they were signs of a deeper connection in the world, like hidden threads pulling things together. It's as if the universe has a quiet rhythm, and sometimes you just step right into its beat without meaning to. Think about this. You're walking home, feeling a bit down, maybe wishing you could talk to a certain friend, and then your phone buzzes. It's them. They just called you, out of the blue, even though you haven't talked in weeks. It's a small thing, right? But it makes you pause. It makes you wonder, how did they know? Was it just a coincidence? Or was there a quiet push, a shared feeling that connected you both at that exact moment? These unplanned paths, these surprising connections, they show us something beautiful. They remind us that our lives aren't always straight lines. Sometimes, the most interesting parts of our journey are the detours, the moments where chance and meaning meet. It leaves you with a quiet sense of wonder, doesn't it? A feeling that maybe, just maybe, there's a gentle, unseen current guiding us along. A whisper from the past. Have you ever looked at something really old, like a faded photograph or a worn-out book, and felt a strange pull, like it was trying to tell you a secret? Sometimes, coincidences feel exactly like that. They're like whispers from the past, echoing into our present. It's the feeling that something that happened long ago isn't just gone, but somehow, subtly, still here. It shows up again in a new way, almost as if time itself is playing a trick. For centuries, people have wondered about this. Think about old stories or legends. Many cultures have tales about cycles, about history repeating itself. It's not about ghosts or time travel, but more about patterns. It's like certain energies or ideas just keep circling back. Philosophers used to talk about how human nature stays the same. So maybe our problems and triumphs, our discoveries and mistakes, tend to show up again and again in similar forms. Here's an example. Imagine you're at a flea market, digging through old boxes. You find a journal from the 1920s. You start reading, and one entry describes a teenager feeling completely lost about what to do after school, worrying about friendships, and wondering if they'll ever find their place. And here's the thing. It sounds exactly like thoughts you or your friends might have right now. Or maybe you learn about an old invention that looked just like something modern, but it was lost to time. It's as if the idea itself just needed to wait for the right moment to appear again. These moments aren't just random. They make us pause and wonder. They connect us to everyone who lived before, showing us that some human experiences are truly timeless. It's a quiet reminder that while the world changes, some feelings and patterns keep repeating, like an ancient melody played on a new instrument. It's a strange comfort, knowing we're part of this long, repeating song. The place I'd never been, yet knew. Have you ever walked into a new place, a park, a classroom, even a picture online, and felt a strange pull, like you'd been there before, maybe in a dream, or a forgotten memory? It's a quiet feeling, a whisper in your mind. I know this. This isn't quite déjà vu, which is about a repeated moment. It's a physical space. It's that deep, unsettling sense of knowing somewhere you've absolutely never visited. Your brain seems to know the light on a window, or the pattern of bricks. It's as if a map was already etched inside you. For centuries, people wondered about these feelings. Some long ago believed our souls carried memories from other lives. They thought these flashes echoed a deeper human experience. Our minds are complex. Sometimes, our brain quickly pieces together fragments of old memories from things we've seen, read, or imagined into a new pattern that clicks. It's like your brain is an artist, taking bits to create something familiar, even if new. Think about reading a really good book. You imagine characters' homes or landscapes clearly. You might picture a specific tree or a winding path. Then, years later, you visit a real place, maybe a forest or an old house. A wave of recognition washes over you. This is it, you think, even though you've never physically been there. It perfectly matches the world you built in your head. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Are these moments just tricks of the mind, a blend of imagination and memory? Or are they hints of something more, something connecting us to places and times we can't quite grasp? Maybe it's a quiet reminder that our inner worlds are as vast and real as the world around us. Sometimes, those two worlds perfectly touch. The object that followed me. Have you ever lost something? Really lost it, only for it to show up again later, in the most surprising place. And then, maybe, it vanishes again, only to reappear a third time. It's a strange feeling, like a little, quiet whisper from the world. It's not just about misplaced keys or a forgotten homework paper. Sometimes, it's a specific, unique object that seems to follow you, popping up in your life in ways that feel more than just random dot. Think about it, a small, chipped ceramic bird you bought years ago at a flea market. You sold it in a yard sale. Then, months later, you're visiting a friend in another town, and there it is, sitting on their bookshelf. How it feels like the object itself has a hidden journey, a curious path that keeps crossing yours. For a long time, people have tried to understand these moments. A thinker named Carl Jung talked about something called synchronicity. This big word just means meaningful coincidences. He believed that sometimes, events happen together that aren't caused by each other, but they feel deeply connected. It's like the universe is putting two things together for a reason, even if we can't see the reason with our eyes. It suggests there might be a kind of invisible network connecting everything. Here's an example. You had a favorite, old silver locket from your grandmother. It went missing. You looked everywhere. Months pass. You finally accept it's gone. Then, one day, you're cleaning out an old coat pocket, a coat you wore often since the locket disappeared, and there it is. Not just in the coat, but in a pocket you definitely checked. It makes you pause. Was it always there? Or did it just arrive? These moments make us wonder about the quiet magic hidden in everyday life. They make us feel a tiny shiver of mystery. It's not about things being haunted or supernatural. It's about sensing a deeper current in the world, a subtle pattern we can't quite grasp. Maybe the world is more woven together than we think, showing us glimpses of its strange, beautiful connections through a lost locket, or a small ceramic bird that just keeps finding its way back. It leaves us with a feeling of gentle wonder, like the world is saying hello in its own peculiar way. A message in the wind. Have you ever had one of those moments? You're just thinking about something, maybe a person you haven't talked to in ages, and then your phone buzzes. It's a text from them, or you're looking for an answer to a question, and a random movie quote suddenly gives you just the thought you needed. It feels like more than just luck, doesn't it? It feels like a whisper, a gentle nudge, a message carried just for you, almost like it came on the wind. This feeling that some coincidences have a deeper meaning is something humans have felt for a very long time. Think about it. Ancient people looked at the flight of birds or the patterns of clouds. They believed these things could be signs from the universe, messages about what might happen next. It wasn't about magic tricks. It was about trying to understand the world around them. Our brains are actually wired to look for patterns. We love to connect the dots, even when sometimes there aren't any dots to connect. We want things to make sense, to have a reason. Here's an example. Maybe you're feeling really sad, missing a special person or a beloved pet who isn't around anymore. You're walking outside, thinking about them, and then, suddenly, a single perfect feather drifts down right in front of you. It's a color or type that reminds you so much of them. Was it just a random feather falling? Sure, it could be, but in that moment, it feels like a comforting hug, a quiet hello, a little sign that even though they're gone, some connection still exists. These kinds of moments make us pause. They invite us to wonder whether it's just our mind making sense of chance, or if there's something more happening. These whispers in the wind add a soft kind of magic to our daily lives. They remind us to stay open to the unexpected. They show us that even in a big, busy world, sometimes, just sometimes, things line up in a way that feels beautifully personal. They encourage us to look a little closer, to feel a little more deeply, and to appreciate the quiet mysteries that surround us. The day the same thing happened, have you ever had a moment where something incredibly specific, something you thought was totally unique, just happened again? It's not quite déjà vu, which is that feeling you've been somewhere or seen something before. This is different. This is when the exact same, very strange event actually repeats itself in ways that make you stop and wonder. It's like the universe paused, rewound, and played a tiny clip of your day over again, but in a new place or at a different time. People have always noticed these kinds of strange echoes. Think about ancient stories where heroes face similar trials or prophecies repeat themselves. It makes you feel like there might be a hidden rhythm to life, or secret patterns we can't quite see. It's a feeling that maybe things aren't as random as they seem. We look for order in chaos, and sometimes the world just gives us a very clear sign. Here's an example. Imagine you're at home, messing with your radio, and an old obscure song you love starts playing, one you haven't heard in years. You smile. Later that day, you go to a friend's house, and their parent puts on a shuffled playlist, and somehow, that exact same obscure song plays again. It's not a hit song. It's one you thought only you and a few others remembered. That's the feeling. It's too specific to be just chance, but there's no clear reason why it happened. So, what does it mean when the same strange thing happens twice? Is it just our brains noticing patterns more when they're surprising? Or is there something more to it? Something about the way life weaves itself together? Maybe these moments are just gentle nudges, quiet reminders that even in our big, busy world, connections are everywhere. They whisper that perhaps we are all part of a larger, beautiful, and sometimes very odd design. The book that found me. Have you ever wondered if some things in life aren't just random? Like, have you ever really needed advice, and then a specific book or an old song just appeared? It's a strange feeling, like the world is whispering directly to you. Here's the thing. Sometimes it feels like certain things find us. They arrive at exactly the right moment, almost as if they were meant for us. This is what we're exploring. It's not magic, but a quiet, meaningful meeting of paths. For a long time, people have thought about these moments. Ancient thinkers and wise storytellers wondered about signs and hidden patterns in life. They weren't always looking for proof, but for meaning. They saw the universe as a vast, complex story, and sometimes a perfect word or a specific image would pop up, feeling less like chance and more like a gentle nudge. This is sometimes called synchronicity. It's a big word, but it just means meaningful coincidences. It's when two things happen together. They might not cause each other, but they feel deeply connected, almost like a secret message just for you. Think about this. Maybe you're struggling with a tough decision about a friend. You feel confused, not sure what to do next. Then, you wander into a library or a second-hand shop, and right there, on a shelf, is a book. Not just any book, but one with a title or a cover that somehow screams answer. Maybe it's a story about loyalty, or understanding, or forgiveness. You pick it up. As you read, the words feel like they were written just for you, speaking directly to your heart. The advice in the story fits your problem perfectly. That book didn't jump off the shelf, but it felt like it found you, didn't it? So, what does this mean for us? Maybe it means our minds are more open to seeing these connections when we need them most. Or maybe, just maybe, the world around us is richer with these quiet, perfect little moments than we usually notice. It reminds us to slow down, to pay attention to the gentle echoes in life. It's a feeling of being connected to something bigger, a soft wonder in the vastness of everything, a reflection of another time. Have you ever had a moment where something just felt old, like it had happened before, or was echoing a time you couldn't quite remember? It's a strange feeling, like the very air holds forgotten memories. Sometimes, what we call a coincidence feels less like random chance, and more like a whisper from a different age. It's like the universe has a vast memory, and it's showing us patterns from long ago, remade for today. Ancient thinkers, people who lived thousands of years before us, used to think about this a lot. They wondered if everything was part of a grand design, a huge story playing out over endless time. Some called it destiny. Others believed that our experiences, even our very souls, might carry echoes of past lives or future events. It's the idea that what happens isn't just new, but deeply linked to a much older, unfolding tale. Here's an example. Imagine you're walking down an unfamiliar street, but suddenly, a certain building or a particular sound makes you stop. It gives you a strong sense of déjà vu, like you've seen it in a dream, or even lived it before. Or maybe you learn about a historical figure who faced the exact same kind of challenge you're dealing with right now. Even though they lived hundreds of years ago, their struggles, their choices, suddenly feel so close, so real. It's like their story is reaching out and touching yours across time. So, when these moments happen, they can feel a bit magical. They remind us that we're not just living in this one moment, on this one day. We're part of a much larger, very old journey. It makes you wonder about the connections between everything, how our present might be shaped by the past, and how our actions today might send ripples far into the future. It's a quiet thought, a gentle reminder of the deep mystery of time, and how we are all intertwined within its endless flow. The key that unlocked a memory. Have you ever had a moment, maybe walking by an old store or hearing a specific song, and suddenly, a memory you hadn't thought about in years just rushes back? It's like a hidden door in your mind swung open. This isn't just forgetting. It's more like those memories are quietly waiting, deep inside us, until the right key appears. Here's the thing. Our brains are amazing libraries, full of moments and feelings. Sometimes, we don't even know what's stored there. For a long time, people have wondered how our minds work this way. Ancient thinkers often talked about how we learn and remember. They thought that memories were like impressions made on a wax tablet. Over time, these impressions might fade, but a strong enough nudge could make them clear again. It's like finding a forgotten path in a forest that leads right back to an old familiar place. Think about a smell. For example, you might walk past a bakery, and the warm, sweet scent of chocolate chip cookies fills the air. And just like that, you're not in the present anymore. You're back in your grandma's kitchen, years ago, watching her pull a tray from the oven. You can almost feel the warmth from the stove, hear her gentle humming. That smell, so simple, became the perfect key. It wasn't something you tried to remember, it just happened. The smell didn't just bring back the cookies, it brought back the feeling of being little, safe and loved. These little coincidences show us something beautiful about our own minds. They remind us that our past isn't truly gone. It's always there, layered beneath our everyday thoughts. And sometimes, with just the right touch, the right sight or sound or smell, those hidden layers reveal themselves. It makes you wonder what other gentle keys might be waiting to unlock another piece of your story. It's a quiet reminder that every single experience we've ever had shapes who we are. Even the ones we think we've forgotten, they're always a part of us, waiting to be found. The name spoken from afar. Have you ever been just thinking about someone you haven't seen in ages? Maybe a friend from an old school. And then, out of nowhere, your phone buzzes. And guess what? It's them. Or maybe you're humming a song in your head, a really old one, and then it starts playing on the radio, almost like the world heard your silent thought. This feeling, this strange happening, is sometimes called the name spoken from afar. It's about how certain thoughts or names seem to echo beyond your mind, finding a way to pop up in the real world. For a long time, people have wondered about moments like these. Back in ancient times, some might have thought it was magic, or a whisper from spirits. Later, thinkers explored how our minds might be linked in ways we don't fully understand, or how our brains are just really good at finding patterns, even in random events. The idea is that these aren't just accidents. They feel like something more, a soft, invisible thread connecting things. Here's the thing. Imagine you're sitting in class, feeling a little bored, and you suddenly remember a funny joke your cousin told last summer. You smile to yourself. Then, later that day, your aunt calls, and she says, "Oh, by the way, your cousin just told me the funniest joke." And it's the exact same one you were just thinking about. It's that moment where your private world seems to briefly touch the public one. So, what does it mean when a name is spoken from afar? Is it just pure chance, a happy accident that we notice because it feels special? Or is there a quieter truth, a gentle reminder that we are all, in some quiet way, connected? Maybe our minds, like faint signals, sometimes brush against each other across distances, creating these beautiful, fleeting moments of wonder. It leaves you with a feeling, not of fear, but of a calm, deep mystery. The echo of a parallel life. Have you ever met someone new and felt like you'd known them your whole life? Or maybe you heard a story from a long time ago, a stranger's story, and it felt strangely like something that happened to you. It's a feeling that makes you pause, making you wonder if, just maybe, there are hints of other lives that walk alongside ours. Or perhaps, these are reflections of paths we might have taken. This idea, this quiet whisper of an echo of a parallel life, isn't about magic spells or traveling through time. It's more about the curious way certain patterns seem to repeat themselves, or how some people's experiences just mirror each other in surprising ways. For a long time, thinkers and philosophers have wondered about fate and destiny. They asked if our journeys are already set, or if something deeper connects us all. It's like our shared human experience. The way we all feel happiness, sadness, or surprise can sometimes guide us down very similar roads, even when we live far apart and never meet. It suggests that even though we are unique, we share a deep common thread. Think about this. Imagine two different kids, living in completely different towns, who both decide to draw a picture of a peculiar purple dragon on the same day, without ever talking to each other. Or maybe two strangers, in different countries, both suddenly decide to hum the exact same old song from their childhood at the same moment. It's not something huge or life-changing, but it makes you stop and think. It's like their moments, their small choices, quietly echoed each other, just for a brief time. It's not that they are the same person, but their experiences, their small choices, align in a strangely similar way. So, when we notice these curious echoes, these surprising resemblances in the tapestry of life, it's not always some big, unexplainable mystery. Sometimes, it's just a soft, gentle reminder of how connected we all are, how similar our human journeys can truly be. It makes you feel a little less alone, knowing that even in a giant world, others might be walking a path very much like yours, or feeling emotions that match your own. It makes you wonder about the soft, invisible threads that weave all our lives together, making us part of something larger.
When the universe winks back. Have you ever had a moment where something truly strange happened? Like you were just thinking about an old friend and then your phone buzzed with a message from them out of the blue? It's more than just luck. It feels like the world is listening. This feeling, when events line up in a way that feels deeply meaningful, is what we mean by the universe winks back. It's like a quiet, secret message meant just for you, hidden in everyday life. Long ago, a thoughtful person named Carl Jung studied these special moments. He called them synchronicity. He didn't say it was magic. Instead, he thought it was about how our inner thoughts and outside events can connect in ways we don't fully get. It's like our minds and the world sometimes hum on the same wavelength. Here's what I mean. Imagine you're trying to solve a tough math problem, feeling really stuck. You take a break, maybe go for a walk. As you walk, you notice a pattern in the sidewalk or a specific group of numbers on a bus. Suddenly, the answer to your problem just clicks in your head. The sidewalk didn't give you the answer, but seeing that pattern helped your brain make the connection it needed. It can feel like the universe helped you out. These winks aren't always huge or dramatic. Sometimes it's a quiet feeling that everything is connected. It reminds us that maybe, just maybe, life isn't totally random. There's a beauty in noticing these moments, in feeling that soft whisper from the world. It makes us wonder about the deeper threads that weave through our lives.